Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4Player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy.
Welcome to the podcast.
What if I just left that in as the intro? Keep going, Brad. Keep going. You got this.
This is it. We're going to talk about some video games today. But first, let me talk about Patreon. Is that what you do?
No.
Let me talk about Discord.
I've already done that. I've done that in a little pre-recorded audio. Yeah. Remember, you called me out for that last week. So
Join our Discord. There's now a politics channel.
There is a politics channel now. I have muted it.
Level up our hype train.
Feel the burn.
I have muted the politics channel, but
I don't know what's going on in that channel.
I don't want to know what's going on in that channel, but it is there. If you, there's also on a lighter note, I did create, because I've really been into this a lot lately. You can probably tell if you follow me on Twitter. I created a virtual photography channel in Discord, so people can share their photo mode photos and whatnot.
Nick's always wanted to pretend to be a photographer.
I know, it's great. It's been it's been pretty phenomenal. But anyways,
that's rude, you gatekeeper.
Hey Nick, what's your name?
My name is Nick Henderson. What's your name?
My name's Chris Guthridge.
Thank you. Hey, Brad, what's your name?
I'm with Nolan.
Oh, this is like off the cuff weird intro thing. I don't think is working out. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna do the normal thing. Hey everyone, welcome to 4Player Podcast. It is episode 632. My name is Nick Henderson. I'm joined by Brad Simons.
Yo, you should have heard what we were talking about right before.
This motherfucker's a gatekeeper over here.
No, I'm not.
He's convinced I don't like high fantasy. But we're going to talk about Baldur's Gate tonight, and you're going to see how excited I am. Nolan Hedstrom is here.
Hi, guys.
And Christopher Guthridge.
Hey.
How you doing, Crispy?
I'm good. How are you doing? I'm excited.
About Baldur's Gate?
About Baldur's Gate.
I thought you were just excited about your microphone.
I am. Listen to this.
I'm really into my
like
microphone
Joseph
today.
over there.
It's so good.
I do want to point out. So Chris Davis is not here tonight. He's not feeling well, but he's also at home working diligently on our Game of the Year content, which is coming out soon. So we'll have those videos.
We'll have it done by next year.
We'll have it. Yes, I mean, we will have it done. We'll have the first video out within a couple of days, followed quickly by the rest of our top 10s. Anyways, I want to start out the show as always by reading feedback from our last episode. Brad's flicking people off in chat. I don't know why, but they probably deserved it. So let's start off with some feedback. Again, if you're listening to the show and you're thinking, this is a pretty good show, but these people got it all wrong, or they didn't talk about this, or didn't talk about that, and you want to chime in, go to 4playernetwork.com, find the post for this episode, and leave us a comment, and we will read and respond to it at the beginning of next week's show. So from last week, we have Drew327. Prepare yourself. This is in response to our dreams discussion. Remember that one? It was intense. I see where Crispy is coming from, and I'm not here to give him shit. Period.
Give him some shit.
Period.
Here we go.
Here comes the shit.
Preface it. I just say, if there is an infinite ceiling, why is that a problem? I eventually got bored playing Little Big Planet levels, and now I'm glad the young people with infinite time on their hands have a way crazier tool set. That's part one of his comment.
But before you continue, I do want to refer him back to that discussion where between the bouts of manic raving, I did keep saying, this isn't a problem. I think this is a good game. I'm just having a hard time with this.
That is also very true. Also, saying you look at a Dreams level and you have no idea how they made it. I think if you've played games for the last 10 years, you'll quote-unquote get how 99% of Dreams are made, sculpted objects, logic, etc. Don't sell yourself short. I think there's a difference between understanding like the process or like having a general knowledge of, oh yes, they sculpted this, or they used this recording to generate that sound effect and then put it here, and they use like logic to like script things. There's a difference between knowing that and specifically knowing how that is done. Like, I feel like I could look at a level of Dreams and be like, I get the idea of how they built this, but if someone handed me a controller and said, all right, now you try and build it, it would be a totally different story.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that show Nailed It on Netflix.
Yes, but I wouldn't nail it.
I don't know that show.
Nailed it.
Unfamiliar with
I'm
it.
assuming the appeal of that show is that most people don't nail
Well,
it.
the whole point of Nailed It is that they take popular like baking recipes from social media, and then they have people who don't know how to bake try to recreate them,
Oh.
and then they
I think
unveil them and go nailed it, and it's ugly and horrible. And there's this French chef who spent his entire life dedicated to baking, like trying to just like be as nice as possible to them.
You know what's really like frustrating about that show? It's that the people who do the best still win.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, fuck those people who
which
do good.
I
It's
feel
like we're gonna get 3 shitty bakers and the least shitty's gonna win, and it's like, why
Yeah.
did we even go through this?
Yeah, but I feel like that goes against the spirit of
'Cause
the
you're all-
show, especially
You're hoping that you're the least shitty baker.
Yeah, but someone could just lie about how shitty they are, and then when it comes to the
Just sandbag it.
final challenge, just like do like pretty good, and they win.
Yeah,
That's fucked up.
it's crazy.
I guess you're probably right
they
there.
just sandbag it,
Yeah.
but it's an entertaining show.
All right, there. That's a good tangent.
One of my friends from college is on that show.
Like consistently, or
Yeah,
he
the
was
the Wes, the
oh,
second assistant director.
What?
that's cool.
I know that guy.
Cool.
Crispy's famous, or he
Yeah.
knows someone who's famous. Tobias Reaper has our next comment. Someone who keeps saying they can't hear. Am I crazy? Okay.
I can't.
He said, never mind. Tobias Reaper says, having just watched Nintendo Direct's, the Nintendo's Direct for the new Animal Crossing, I, for one, am extremely disappointed in the direction they are taking in the series.
Uh-oh.
Animal Crossing's main draw has always been its gritty realism.
What?
And the fact that they have designed the game to where there is accumulated snowfall on a tropical island is just silly. Thanks for killing the immersion, Nintendo. I'll be canceling my pre-order with GameStop this evening. Love, Tobias.
Well, first of all, it's a good idea to cancel your pre-order at GameStop.
The only one I'm not canceling is my Resident Evil 3 Collector's Edition. I think GameStop will be around for at least another month,
Yeah.
and I think I'll be good.
Well, Animal Crossing is coming out in like a month, right?
Oh, less than a month. I think
Comes out the same day as Doom, doesn't it?
Yeah, like
Oh,
2 or
well,
3
okay,
weeks.
that doesn't narrow anything down for me.
That's in
the-
3 weeks.
I don't know when Doom comes
the-
out.
The 11th,
20th?
the 20th,
No.
the 11th is something else.
Ori and the Blind Forest, followed shortly thereafter by Neo 2 on the 13th, and then Doom is like the following week.
What are we even talking?
I don't
about?
know.
Yeah,
But
20th of March.
We're talking
March
about-
is almost. It is 1 week shy of a month.
Vacation juice.
yes. By the way, I found out that the Wonderful 101
They
is
have
coming
alcohol in Animal Crossing, but they call it vacation juice.
It's nice.
out. The Wonderful 101 is coming out the week before my trip in May.
Nice.
Wow.
So it turns out that's what I'll be playing.
That game might be kind of hard to see on a little Switch screen.
It'll be fine.
I'm still going to try.
I think you'll be
I'm
fine.
sure.
I will bring a backup just in case. Our next comment comes from Powerful Musk Ox. It's a good name. I loved the dreams discussion and Crispy's take on it. Really like the passion you guys bring to every episode and every discussion. I don't really have any friends that are this passionate about games in my life, so it is nice to listen to like-minded people each
Just to
week.
be clear, what was Crispy's take again?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm terrified of dreams. That was my take.
I think it's really more he just appreciates our enthusiasm one way or the other.
I'm in awe, but like awe the way they use it in the Bible,
Cool.
where it's like terrifying and
Awesome.
you pee yourself.
Just a little.
And our last comment, man, you were popular last week, Crispy. Slop Dog says Crispy's points about dreams are absolutely valid concerns.
What are those points again?
I'm reading the
damn it,
reading the comment, Brad. Especially the philosophical arguments on creation and the fear of people putting hours and hours of effort into something only to have that work maybe eventually being erased from existence years down the road. That was a really valid point. Good point. These are real fears for any and all artists and creators working with any kind of medium, not only completing a project but having it acknowledged or be worth a damn. Is it worth to dump months, maybe years, making a replica of the Enterprise in Minecraft if the majority of people that see it are going to look at it for 5 seconds then move on? Sometimes the best you can hope for is, cool, from someone. This discussion is a rabbit hole, and there is not enough time to talk about it here. Crispy should just know that the existential nightmares facing art and creation are very much real and being wrestled and fought against.
I think it's a scenario of a lot of the times when people create something like that, they're not necessarily doing it for other people. They're kind of doing it for themselves.
True.
You know, it's something like, oh, I would like to do this because I can say I did it, and then I did it. And if a couple of people are like, cool, then they're like, cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think a lot of the times, maybe especially when it comes to like dreams, people, they do want to create that cool level and share it with their friends or whatever. And, you know, some people will come and see it, but I don't think any of them are creating this level or whatever in dreams to like, but there is
make
also some huge thing. I think they're just kind of wanting to do that because that's maybe something they're interested in.
Yeah.
It would be nice though to know that whatever you spend time and put effort into creating was going to exist outside of this bubble, and in this case, the bubble being literally owning a physical copy of Dreams and the servers being up.
Well, you could own a digital copy of Dreams,
or that. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
But like once you make something, it's only going to exist inside that small bubble.
About how much control you're allowed to
I made a
have.
giant castle in Minecraft at one point. I don't know if that still exists, but I'm cool. I had fun making it.
I suppose that at the end of the day, that is what's important. Is did you have fun making? Because at the end of the day, we are playing games. So
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you very much for your feedback. Again, if you want to leave a comment for next week, just go to the post for this episode on 4playernetwork.com and leave us a comment, and we'll get it to next week. Now, this week's show is going to be probably very news heavy and questions heavy. We have a lot of questions. In fact, we may use this as an opportunity to really play catch up on viewer questions because we've had a lot accumulating over the past few weeks. So if you haven't heard your question answered yet, it might be tonight. But we do have some news, and I do want to kind of start things off by rattling off some games. I like
shotgun them off.
Shotgunning.
How
off
about
some
we
games.
like rapidly stab them off?
Sure. Why don't you start, Brad?
Oh, because fantasy.
Brad thinks I hate
He
fantasy.
preferred us to lasso them off. I bet. This
I mean-
motherfucker.
Laser them.
What's
Yeah,
wrong with a
laser
good
them.
lasso?
How come people in fantasy don't use lassos?
Yeah, what the fuck's up
They
with that?
do. Wonder Woman. Magical
All right.
lasso.
So,
She's like a wizard, right?
yes, definitely a wizard. All right.
basically.
We have, I think, a lot of little things we may want to just kind of get out there and talk about without spending a ton of time on each one of these things. So, Brad, why don't you start us off? We have a couple things that we've never talked about before. So,
Do you prefer superheroes to elves?
Oh,
um,
that is such a
just
tough question.
plain ass elves.
Exactly. The fact that he thinks elves are plain says it all.
Said that. Can't believe it.
I mean, there are so many different depictions of elves. Some are better than others. Same can be said of superheroes.
What's your favorite?
Superhero or elf?
His
Elf.
favorite elves are the Dragon Age City elves, where they belong, right next where they belong.
I really liked Liv Tyler and I'm sorry, I don't even know where I was going. Which movie was that? That
Just
was
Liv Tyler
That
in
was
general.
Liv Tyler, right?
Okay.
Yes, that was Liv Tyler.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Lord of the Rings.
Yes. I always get her confused with.
Her name was Arwen.
I always get.
Can you name one fantasy thing that isn't Lord of the Rings? Because all night, every single one of your examples
Witcher.
is Lord of the Rings.
The Witcher, Dragon Age. What do you want me to say? Start naming some shit that I'm not naming, so I know what I'm missing out on here.
What?
I'm giving you 10 seconds to name one high fantasy thing that I'm not mentioning that you think is a gross.
Dungeons and Dragons.
He's got you there.
But you know how
You don't even know where Baldur's Gate is.
You ever read a Dragonlance book?
So, would you like me to keep quiet about my excitement and anticipation?
Yes!
for Baldur's Gate 3?
No. You know what? I'm sure you're gonna buy it day one.
Conan.
Condescending piece of shit.
Sorry, I'm sorry. What are we talking about today? Impressions roundup.
I was going to
played-
talk about how fucking excited I am to play Divinity Original Sin 2.
Oh,
That
wait,
has
but that's
nothing to do
later.
with
That-
impressions.
That's later.
I
That's
know, I
later.
know. Let's talk about it. Let's do impressions, Brad.
Okay.
And by the way,
I
that
thought I was
Dungeons-
just making an observation. I thought you were going to respond huh? Maybe you're right.
that Dungeons and Dragons thing was a little low because
I mean,
you know how it's less about the high fantasy part and just more about like I have a really hard time really letting myself get into like tabletop RPGs.
Wow.
James Bond or Gimli.
Well, fucking James Bond. Come on.
Exactly.
Wow.
I mean,
I bet if we played Fiasco, you'd really like it.
is that like a
Tabletop RPG.
No, I know, but like what's the genre?
fiasco.
Nailed it.
It's I
Fucking
don't know.
nailed
It's
it.
more like it's more movies you would watch.
I don't know how to. Let's just talk about. Let's move on.
I don't know. It's like you can do like a Tarantino movie. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm not even the biggest Tarantino.
Okay, Nick.
Wow.
We know you're the biggest Lord of the Rings fan ever. We
I'm
love
really
you.
not. I'm really
We
not.
appreciate
This
it.
guy took Elvish in college.
What?
Brad,
Dude, what's
what
up?
games have you been playing?
You didn't know that,
I've
Crispy?
actually, I mean, mostly Fire Emblem.
Quenya or
This guy,
Sindarin? Or...
Brad over
both
here.
Quenya and
Brad
Sindarin.
over here was literally christened a Grey Warden at E3, and he took Elvish in college.
How many
so
credit
I must,
hours was that?
I must hate high fantasy. Elder Scrolls, that's a good one. I played Elder Scrolls.
I don't know about
I loved Skyrim.
christened probably isn't the right word. You know, Grey Ward, like people who become Grey Wardens, a lot of them don't even really have the choice. They're sort of conscripted into it.
Didn't they make you drink the taint?
I didn't know I was gonna do that.
No, Nick, they made him drink from a taint.
Lick the
Come on.
taint. Lick the taint.
They smeared it on my head, I guess.
It's a weird hazing ritual.
No, that's what they do. They smear it on your head. I don't think they want you to drink. Pat, you get pox that way.
That's it. Anyways, Brad, why don't you tell us about some of the stuff you've been playing?
Mostly Fire Emblem, but I did try a couple things last time I streamed.
He wanted to make sure he started off with a high fantasy thing.
Well, that's more anime.
Yeah.
Anime fantasy.
Anime fan. Is that there's distinctions to be made?
Yeah,
there?
the elves are
I
like
wouldn't
little
miss-
girls in anime fantasy.
No, the little girls are secretly 1,000-year-old dragons. That's fucking true.
It's weird.
All right, hit us with your impressions, Brad. What have you been playing lately?
Mostly Fire Emblem, but I did try a couple of new things on my stream last Friday,
Uh-huh.
and I'm going to talk about them here.
Okay.
Didn't play them too long, but they're interesting and they're worth mentioning. First one, A World of Horror.
Is it called
you've been
A
playing
World
that?
of Horror or World
Yeah,
of Horror?
A World of Horror, I think it's called.
Oh my god, I almost bought that last night. Is it good?
You don't have to buy it because it's on Xbox Game Pass on PC.
Oh well, I'm not gonna do that.
Well, you should because it's really easy to get like cheap trials and stuff.
Well, I'm not gonna do that.
There's actually a ton of cool shit on Xbox Game Pass on PC. Surprisingly,
I follow a lot of like horror artist accounts on Twitter, and
Yeah.
they've all been going crazy over this.
yeah,
game.
because it has. First of all, it looks very strange. I chose
Very striking.
It's 1-bit or 2-bit. It's very Return of the Obra Dinn in that way. I mean, the default is just black and white, right?
Oh, so you chose this like color palette?
Yeah. There's a randomize button. You could just kind of choose a random color palette. It'll cycle through some random ones. I think the black and white is probably the way to go. I think the look of this game is very inspired by Junji Ito horror. Like some of the monsters and stuff you meet are like very reminiscent of
Straight
that.
up.
Yep.
Yeah. So the black and white I think is which is very much a part of his thing. It is
So
what they were going for.
I did play this at PAX.
Yeah.
Was it 2019 or 2018?
When was the last time we went
I
to
don't
a
know.
PAX?
I think it's been development
It's
for a while.
still in early access.
I don't think it was 2019.
Okay, then it was 2018. I played it at PAX.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. It was pretty difficult what I played.
Yeah, this is it's a point and click horror roguelike.
Yeah.
Every time you play, it's a little bit different.
It's kind of randomized. You'll pick up
Yeah.
random like equipment and stuff like that. Yeah.
And you're constantly doing these events that are kind of like, I don't even know how to describe them. You know how like events in like FTL can go like in different ways,
Depending on
almost
your
randomly?
abilities. Or
I didn't
Yeah.
play that because I prefer
Although
high fantasy.
this is kind of like stats driven.
I see.
This actually does have like a lot of stats and stuff kind of behind the scenes.
It does.
That might be governing how an event plays out, and the result of all those events that happen, these horror events, do affect your stats. You know, like your sanity and stuff. Because
if you're able to defeat a monster, how
Yeah.
you do in battle and stuff like that
Or-
affects it. Or if you take a lot of hits.
yeah, but not just battle. Even like the events that you don't even really have too much control over. You're just kind of making a decision and then it resolves.
It's like, oh, do I want to open this door? And you
Yeah.
do, and there's like a spooky thing in there, and it's
but
like, "Bah!"
but
And you're like,
sometimes when you open the door, it might be something that benefits you,
Yeah.
right? And there is like some Lovecraftian stuff in this game too.
Is that Martin Luther King?
It does kind of look like like a
But-
Japanese Martin Luther King, I guess.
Sorry, Martin Luther King-san?
Okay, he'd be more of like a
Senpai?
simp.
I don't know. Are we bordering on offensive here? I can't tell.
don't know.
Well, bordering. Yeah, sure.
Sorry.
Martin Luther King coon.
Oh God.
I bet
Please,
that's a
it's
character in an
Sama.
anime. Yeah.
Mata-chan.
So
What the fuck is wrong with this?
oh, here I'm in battle, and you're just kind of like, it's not. This thing is definitely like a throwback style PC adventure game in a lot of ways.
Is it spooky?
I mean, it can be
it
kind of
can,
spooky,
yeah.
actually. There's some creepy shit that pops up, and some events that you know, the horror is like very in your face, not like in a screamer sense, but like when it gets up in your face, it's up in your face, and it's some shit's like pretty horrific. It's just got a really good look and a really cool vibe, and I'm not sure how I feel about. I haven't played too much of it yet, but the reason I wanted to talk about it is because like it was immediately compelling to me. But I need to play more.
Why was it immediately compelling to you?
Well, because the look, the sounds, the vibe. I don't, and it's creepy. I haven't really played a horror game that is like this.
Mm-hmm.
It was so reminiscent of something that I feel like I played, but maybe I haven't played. I don't even know how to describe it, but there's like an era of PC game that existed, but I was playing consoles, but I kind of knew that they existed. I didn't really play them.
And you never got to experience it.
And this kind of reminds me of that.
Can I use that, unless you have something more you want to say, can I use that as like a transition? Because I think it kind of sets it up perfectly. Because
Sure.
you were talking about being immediately compelling,
Okay.
and I've been playing...
That's your transition?
Well,
Here's
here's the thing. I've been playing Kentucky Route Zero a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
Oh, great. Let's listen to Nick talk shit about a good game.
No, I don't want to talk shit about it. I really
gonna talk
don't
shit.
want to talk shit about it. But at the same time, I also am kind of like
What's
teetering
the
on the edge of
matter,
putting it
Nick?
down.
Is it too fantasy for you?
Definitely. Definitely too fancy.
Too magic realism for him.
No, it's not okay. First of all, Kentucky Route Zero, immediately compelling for a lot of the same reasons you mentioned about A World of Horror.
Oh.
Like visual style, sound design, concept. It has this really chilling like tone to it, like atmosphere that really grabbed me immediately.
Let's take a step back real quick.
Yes.
George has been talking about this game for years.
Yes, it's the first
Chris
episode came out.
Davis has been talking about
A lot
this
of
game
The
people
first,
have
I know, and that's why I wanted to play this.
I have no idea what the fuck this game is.
Kentucky Route Zero is an episodic.
That's all I know about
It's
the
a
game.
point and click adventure.
But
Episodic
it's not,
point
because
it's
there's
not
no like puzzles and stuff. It's just it's interactive fiction almost.
Yes, I mean you're walking around an
It's like
environment.
a visual novel?
kind of.
Not in the Japanese sense. More
can
in
move
the,
around
Who said
the
Japanese?
Well, I mean, visual novels like specifically a genre title.
Did you play or are you familiar? I compare it frequently to Oxenfree, which is I think maybe the most recent thing I've
Never
played.
played Oxenfree.
Oh man, you're making this difficult.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the comparisons to Oxenfree.
I mean, it has
can't.
a lot in common with the walking Telltale games.
Okay.
Like you walk around an environment, you can examine things, you can talk to people.
Okay.
a
And
lot of conversations.
the setup for it is that you are a delivery driver who is trying to deliver. You do deliveries for an antique shop, and you are trying to deliver I think it's a TV. Mm-hmm. And you're trying to find the address, and you can't find the address, so he stops at this gas station to get directions, and weird shit starts to ensue.
Yeah.
And then you eventually find your way to.
And then they're like, you should take the zero.
You should take the zero. And then it's just trying, but like, and from there, and here's the thing, like, I am fully aware that what I'm about to start saying is going to sound like I am actually not enjoying this game, or that.
But you're
Why don't you like the game?
But I thought you're not enjoying it.
But
No, I mean, I'm serious. I'm being serious.
maybe
here.
I'm kind of hoping. So, Crispy, you've played at least some of it,
Some of it.
and this is maybe just
Some of
okay.
it.
So first of all, the kind of fiction, the kind of story it's telling, is to me seems right up my alley because it is very. It's very much like it feels like a dream, like
Okay.
weird shit that doesn't make any sense to tell. Like, why do you think I love Silent Hill so much? Because like, it's horror and things that are unexplainable are happening, right? It's very much the same kind of thing. What I'm having trouble wrapping my head around, which is kind of turning me off, is so you control the driver, right?
Okay.
He meets other characters, right? And you start having dialogue with them, and it's giving you dialogue choices, and you make decisions, right?
Sure.
And then it goes to what the other person you're talking to is saying, and then it gives them dialogue options.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know nothing about these characters.
So you're choosing dialogue that they say to you.
You're choosing dialogue. I'm choosing what to say to them, and what to say to them, and then I'm choosing what they say back to me, not knowing anything about the character or why they're saying the things they're saying.
Here's the thing. I think you're looking at like this game treats options like way different than like dialogue options in other games.
Sure, and maybe that's what I'm having trouble with.
Like here, the options are you kind of filling in.
You kind of create your own, cater your own story.
Yeah,
I know,
exactly.
but it just feels very
like, can you make someone be like a dick to you?
Like I don't feel like I'm making a decision. I'm just kind of going, I guess this. Like every decision I make when I'm in a conversation, mostly when I'm making a decision for the person of whom I am talking to, I just go, I don't fucking know. I guess I'll say this because I know literally nothing about them, and maybe that's going to change over time, and I'll start to feel more comfortable making those decisions for the. It's just very strange. I'm not used to having dialogue where I'm making decisions on both sides because you're usually role playing like
talk to
one
yourself?
person. I mean,
And you're not even really making
No.
decisions. I mean, you're not. They're not choices in a way that like. I mean, you're just adding your own flavor. And background that you feel is.
It's less an exercise of like simulating a situation where you're interacting with an outside party, and more of like you are collaborating in the storytelling.
You're filling in like the Mad Libs or whatever.
See, I was kind of
Like the
hoping
first
y'all
thing
would.
you do in the game is like someone asks you like what the name of your dog is, and you choose the name.
Yes.
And it doesn't. I mean,
It doesn't matter.
You're just choosing the name that you like,
Yeah.
and that's what like all the choices in this game
Right,
are.
and you're right. And to be honest, like what y'all just did is kind of what I was hoping would happen in this conversation. By the way, I'm going up this elevator right here, and this is the best part of this footage. You get on the elevator, and it has like floor 1, like archives, floor 2, and then like it says floor 3, bears. So I choose that, and I get on the elevator.
It's just a bunch of bears.
It's just a room full of bears.
Yeah,
and like there's nothing to do in that room. I was like, all right.
What is the name of this place again?
Bears?
No. It's it's part of that like weird metaphysical like world of the zero. Like when like at the end of the first chapter, you actually like are able to find your way into.
See, I'm
Bears.
you go into the TV, right?
Yeah, but that's like
What is this,
That's like
Persona?
your. But that's
Persona
you
4?
You spend the whole first chapter trying to figure out how to get into the zero, and then the TV is kind of like what gets you
what
in
gets you
there.
there.
And then once you're in there, it's like the closest thing I can think of that's like readily accessible is like I don't know. It's got like a Welcome to Night Vale kind of thing, where it's like just this strange world that exists under the real world. And it has its own laws, its own rules, and it's just full of like metaphysical weirdness, and it's all about like wanderers and people who are lost, just kind of like ending up there.
Yeah.
You know,
There are
very
people.
Lynchian.
Yeah, and
that kind of sounds like Persona. Like the midnight hour, like when
yeah.
you...
Yeah, I mean, a little bit.
It's kind of like that. It's a little more.
And when you're talking to
Contemplative.
people, it has all the people have like they're very vague about what they're doing or what their role is in the world, and you just kind of get the sense that like the people you're talking to are different than you, or like you know like exist in a different plane. I guess.
They're like very savvy to things that you are very confused by, and like
it's like in Beetlejuice when they die and they go to. You know, and like everyone's like everyone knows, everyone acts normal, and they're just like, "What the fuck is going on?" It's kind of like that. So here's the thing.
You think they're dead?
This conversation that we just had, I feel like I needed because
good.
I just didn't know what to make of it, and maybe
We haven't had too much.
I
of a
mean, I think
conversation.
the whole point of it is less of like where is this going, and more of like enjoy the journey.
yeah, I know.
You know?
I mean, George put
And
it.
just like be okay with being kind of lost in it.
George did say,
and fuck capitalism. from what I
And
understand.
fuck Apple.
George did say he recommends playing this game, turning the lights out with some headphones and a glass of wine, and playing it.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe
Okay.
maybe I should really try.
Maybe even some psychedelics.
that. Maybe even some psychedelics. I'll go get those out of my psychedelics drawer at home. All right. Let's just keep going. Brad, Nolan, do you have anything that you I know you've been playing a little something.
I mean, the only thing I've played a little of is Red Dead Redemption 2, mainly because I was in the mood to play it.
I played a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2 this weekend.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, as you could probably tell if you follow me on Twitter. I was tweeting about it a lot. Taking lots and lots of photos. Have you played with the photo mode and all in that game?
only a little bit.
Oh man, I stopped like every 2 feet to take pictures in that game. It's ridiculous.
I mean, it is a very pretty game, and I just kind of, like I said, I played it a decent amount when it came out, but there's a bunch of shit I didn't get to do.
Are you continuing, or did you pick up the piece?
I'm on PC.
Yeah.
So it looks nicer, it plays nicer. I can, yeah. So I'm trying to do all the shit I missed.
I'm still actively doing my completionist quote unquote run where I'm trying to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
I spent like 2 hours trying to hunt dinosaur bones this weekend. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I never really did any of that stuff in the original
That's
game.
why I made the checklist.
Gotcha. What's your checklist?
I just made a Google Doc and I went through the guide and just put like all the shit that I wanted to find in there, and I'm just going through and checking shit off as I do it. Sounds really lame, but it's fun. I'm enjoying. Shut up, Crispy.
Nick likes his spreadsheets.
I do really enjoy my spreadsheet.
Dude,
They help him organize.
I love
his fun.
Google Docs.
Yeah.
I fucking live for Google Docs.
As do I. I did the mission. The last thing I did in the game was the mission where you take you go into town and you get drunk with Lenny.
Lenny? Yeah. Lenny. I never noticed.
Lenny!
Or just forgot that when you're doing that mission, there's one point when you get super like fucking wasted
Where
and everyone is Lenny.
Yeah.
And I never noticed that when I first played.
Were you drunk?
I mean, I might have been, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Even like they keep all the same costumes and stuff too. So like you're talking to like the ladies of the night, but they all have Lenny's face.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah. It's a good game. It's a good story.
I heard that game's pretty good.
Yeah.
You ever finish it, Crispy?
Nope.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
Nope.
Crispy, you been playing anything?
Well,
Just dig deep. We're just
I've been playing Overwatch.
What is that?
Overwatch.
Tell me about Overwatch, Crispy.
It's a game by those people who make World of Warcraft.
What's the current Overwatch meta?
That is actually an interesting question. How much time you got? So
about 5 minutes.
So last year they rolled out
3.
2-2-2 roll lock, right? So 2 tanks, 2 DPS, 2 support characters,
I don't know
right?
what that means.
And well, I mean that's just the broad categories of characters, right?
Okay.
So tank character. I mean, think of it in terms of like an MMO, right?
Yeah.
Tank characters draw a lot of damage.
Yeah.
DPS puts out a lot of damage.
Damage per second.
Yeah, and support heals.
But I think that
supports.
the meta was just tank and healer, right?
It was for a long time. That was called GOATs. And it was very meta to do 3 tanks, 3 healers, and that is why roll lock was introduced.
Maybe somebody
so
can
roll
explain
lock
this to
killed
me.
GOATs.
What is when you say the meta? What is
The meta is like based on the current balancing and the way people play the game, what characters are like better than other characters.
Yeah, like,
so
what is the you wouldn't play this character because he's been nerfed recently or something like
Right.
that, and it's useless to play that character.
or
so
like
you would do this
right
one.
now it's really pop. Yeah. So
like someone's OP, so you're gonna choose to play them.
And there can be a couple different metas that are like all floating around at the same time. So like when GOATs was going on, or after GOATs, after the rollout came in, something called Dive, which has always kind of come and gone.
Yeah.
Came back, and Dive is like you pick heroes that are extremely mobile and you try to just like jump over the enemy and get to the objective, and do it as quick as possible. Right. So Overwatch has been in this weird state, where they've been trying since the end of last like Overwatch League season. They've been trying to break the tyranny of the meta, right? So because the meta was so strict, it was so restrictive that there really were like 6 to 8 heroes that were viable. So every match of like Overwatch League, like the professional league, you're watching every team play the same 6 heroes against the same 6 heroes, and it's just like not fun to watch,
Gets
and it's
repetitive,
not
I
fun
would
to play,
imagine. Yeah.
and it's just like dumb, right?
How many total heroes do they have at this point?
They're up to 20.
Oh, they have like 25, but they're only using the same setup like 6 to 8. I think.
Yeah. So like that's a problem, right?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So Overwatch has been trying to figure out like where can we get into a good space where like the meta isn't oppressive, but like there are still a lot of like skill and strategy. Like basically taking the game and making it less of a MOBA and making it more of a shooter.
Yeah.
Right? They've done a lot of stuff this year that has improved and has like moved things in a good direction. And one of the big things that just got rolled out was a new card on like the play screen that they're calling experiment card. So experimental. So basically anything that exists like in a state pre-public test server, like readiness. So like if they have an idea in the office that they're like trying out and they don't know if they want to implement it into the game, they just want to like see how it goes.
Yeah.
They can put it in this thing called the experimental card and have it run for a week. And then everyone can try it and just see what the fuck happens.
And then after
right?
a week, they can close it down.
And then after a week or two, they'll rotate it out into something else, right?
And Scarecrow says
which-
31 total heroes just for
31.
that.
Yeah, that's even more than I thought.
Damn.
Yeah, they're coming up on 32. They're supposed to do 32. They're supposed to do one more this year.
Aren't they
and
supposed
then
to be
we'll
building Overwatch 2?
They
I'm
are.
so
They are.
confused.
Have
They already did. It's called Overwatch 1.
Have they dropped any heroes?
No. But that does kind of dovetail into what I was talking about. Is one of their new initiatives to try to manage meta is to do a thing called Hero Pool. So every week in competitive, like only in competitive and only like for league play, they're gonna do a pool of like 5 heroes. That's like you can't use these heroes this week, right?
Oh.
So if a meta develops around like Reinhardt, right, and it gets to be like crazy, they can go in and say like, no Reinhardt this week. You got to figure something else out.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I like that because it forces players to maybe try a different character out. Because that was something that I back in the day when I played like TF2 or something.
It's
I would
easy to get
always
stuck
play like
on one-
Pyro or Spy, and that's it.
Yeah, and it's like it's kind of this happy middle ground between like no control over that and like outright banning heroes from competitive play, which is like, you know, if it came down to like, oh, you can never play Diva in competitive for the whole season, it'd be like that fucking.
I mean,
sucks,
it's
you
cool
know?
to like see them do something like that, knowing that like it's not gonna be gone forever. It's just a temporary thing.
Sure.
Get out there and experiment a little bit, but know that your character will be back and you'll be able to play as them again. Like that seems like a smart way to approach it.
So the first thing that they put into experimental card is a new format called 132, which is 1 tank, 3 DPS, and 2 support. And they also, along with that, buffed all the tanks like crazy. And this 132 is like what Jeff Kaplan, like the creative director of the game, kind of wants for Overwatch. This is like his idea. He's like, maybe the game could be this, and it feels really different.
Yeah.
And it's fun and it's kind of crazy. I really like playing tanks. That's kind of like where
Who's your tank of choice?
Reinhardt or Diva, but I've been learning Sigma lately, and Sigma is fucking dope.
Hey, who do you think he would like?
Here we go.
Knowing the genres
Wait, are we
that he
di-
does.
I think
Is this
he'd
a
be
high
a
fan-
roadhog.
Oh yeah.
Is this a high fantasy thing or a butts thing? I want to know.
Both.
Oh, sweet.
Widowmaker, roadhog.
He's such a widowmaker. It's sick.
I'm good.
He's one of those attack widows on like a fucking cart map that's just the worst. It's like you're not good enough with a controller to be playing Widowmaker.
I'm googling Widowmaker.
Yeah,
Oh.
you've seen her. She's the sniper with the big old boobies.
Yeah,
Or booty.
That's I think that's a fair assessment.
There's a lot of
they
cool stuff.
censored this one.
There's a lot of cool stuff going on in Overwatch. I've just recently got back into
Next
it,
time,
and it's
search
been
it
very
on Bing, you
yeah,
savage.
you idiot. In incognito mode, God, and it's been really great.
Cool.
I think if you got burned out by goats or weren't into the game last year, now's a great time to check it out again because it's very different.
Is that game like just on a general level? Is it like accessible to people who have like never played that?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it is.
Not that I have
There's
time.
There's a lot more to it now that makes it easier to like. For instance, if you're like, even if you want to jump into competitive, like, there's no way you aren't gonna get out of bronze rank. You know, you're not gonna get. You might not get to a point of play like you see, you know, in the professional leagues where it's like 6 people who all are communicating and know how to play their characters together. But like, you can get individually good.
Yeah.
You know?
All right. Cool. Burned out by goats.
I got one other
I feel like
quick
that's a
game.
good name for the show too.
I got one other quick game.
All right, hit us up, Brad.
It gifted to me by Green Toast.
Ooh.
Kami.
Yeah, I don't even know how to.
Katana Kami.
Yep.
A Way of the Samurai story. This is a Way of the Samurai spinoff. This is a Way of the Samurai is a quirky little game series. I have a lot of love for the first one.
Did we get? Wasn't the last way like a core Way of the Samurai game? Wasn't that like on PS3 or did we get one this generation?
Yeah, I think we did.
Oh.
Way of the Samurai 4 or 5. But yeah, so that series was sort of this, samurai action game with a heavy emphasis on factions and, choose your own adventure elements where, you could just side with the bad guys and the stories weren't long, so you can kind of replay them a bunch and just pick different things, and kind of make your own story. And, this spinoff is more of a roguelike dungeon crawler, but it still has isometric roguelike dungeon crawler, but it still has elements of Way of the Samurai. Like there's still factions, there's still a lot of you could side with the shitty dudes. I mean, I'm not at that point yet because I haven't really played much of this game. But
how do you mean side with the shitty dudes? Like, what is the context?
You can high five the shitty dudes.
Well, just like. Can I explain this in the context of like the original Way of the Samurai?
Sure.
Because I always like when I talk about the series, I literally always explain like the opening scene of the first game where you're just a dude, you're walking around and like there are these guys hassling this lady and like trying to kidnap her, and you could totally like you could rescue her, you can ignore the situation, you can say, hey, that's cool, let's fucking kidnap her and go like just hang out with those dudes, right? And they're all different factions and you're kind of creating your own story as you go. And you could just be a shitty dude. Yeah, and literally in that first scene, you could just turn around and leave the area and then credits will roll.
Nice.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I do kind of like the look of this, like the top down style.
So this game, it's like a cross between Way of the Samurai and Shiren the Wanderer, which is a Japanese style roguelike where every time you go down into the dungeon you're back at level 1 and you're kind of leveling up as you go, and you might want to try to get to the end of those few floors and exit and like take back your money and your weapons that you've gained, but every time you go back into the dungeon you're level 1 again.
Yeah,
it's sort of that sort of thing where it's more about getting your resources and stuff. So like what you see me doing now, I'm outside of the dungeon, it's all very Way of the Samurai stuff where I'm just, I mean, this is a series where like, there's one blacksmith who can repair, like sell you weapons, repair your weapons, reinforce your weapons. You can just like kill the dude and then you just can't do that anymore. Nice. I don't know if you could do that in this game specifically because it seems core to the dungeon crawling. But like I could totally get into a fight with this dude and he could just kill me even though he's like my friend in this game.
Slade wants to know if it's open world.
Well, this one's more of a dungeon. I mean, I don't think any of them are open world. This one's more of a dungeon crawler.
It looks like more maybe just like a large hub area that in between.
Yeah. I know it opens up later, but right now I can pretty much just be in this one little area and then explore the dungeon. Kind of reminds me of like the original Diablo.
And like World of War, you are still pretty early in this. So
oh no, extremely fucking early. In fact, I'm at the point where I don't even really fully understand like the loop that's going on here. But I'm going down to this dungeon. I'm fighting things. I'm getting new swords and stuff. And the combat, even though it's like isometric, it all still feels very Way of the Samurai, where you're like blocking and parries and special attacks. Like it is very different than your typical Way of the Samurai game, but like at the same time, it feels so Way of the Samurai. And it's a pretty janky series. I don't think any of these games ever rated above like a 78 on Metacritic. You know what I mean? This is Acquire, I think. It's the same people who've made all the
didn't Acquire also make games. A Tenchu game?
Yeah. What was that?
That was weird.
So yeah, this game has a healthy amount of jank to it, but it feels good to like do special moves. That was really loud. Why was it so loud?
What's crazy is how loud it was, considering it wasn't anywhere near the microphone at all.
It wasn't supposed to be.
That's funny. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm just like fighting random dudes, and like one of the moves is just to bow for forgiveness, and sometimes they'll be like, all right, fine, I forgive you, and they'll just move along their way. Sometimes they won't, and that bow totally does damage. So you can like, I've been running up to people
like
bowing
headbutt
at them, and it's basically like a headbutt.
Nice.
Starting fights that way. But yeah, it's just quirky and random and janky, but it's still very Way of the Samurai.
That kick looks fun.
Now I don't know. Look, I haven't played enough of this game to know if that dungeon crawling stuff gets like kind of repetitive or not. I mean, I've kicked a bunch of dogs and,
What?
and killed a bunch of skeleton dudes. But
Like
demon dogs?
in the no, they weren't demon dogs. I don't think.
Brad.
I think they were just wolves.
Why didn't
What
you
the
bow
fuck?
to the wolves?
I don't think you can in the dungeon.
Why would you hurt a puppy?
Look, dude,
Oh my God.
they were coming at me. What do you want me to do?
So they were attacking.
Now here, I'm just being a dick. I'm fighting all these dudes. Sometimes, like this dude actually hit another, and he's like, "What the fuck?"
And then they start fighting.
Yeah, they start fighting. I think they're from different factions, and then I just start throwing them around and stuff. It's this is very Way of the Samurai. But I haven't played enough of this game to like give any sort of fucking verdict. I'm not saying go out and buy it. I mean, do maybe pick up some of the earlier games in the series. I like 1. I think 3 is pretty fun, but this game I have to play more.
All right. Well, perhaps we'll revisit it on a future show if you
Perhaps.
if you
What's it
keep
called
going.
Katana Kami,
Mhm.
A Way of the Samurai story.
It's a bad name.
It is a really bad name.
It's bad.
You know what's
bad,
a good
bad
name? Way of the Samurai.
Yeah, it's true.
That's pretty good.
But
That's true.
what are you gonna do?
All right, I have a couple really quick mentions. I want to give updates on one, Asgard's Wrath.
Mm-hmm. Aren't you? How's the tutorial going?
Dude, I'm still in that fucking tutorial. Albeit, I've only
How is
had
that possible?
I've only had 2 sessions since, and I can really only, like I mentioned last week, like this is a game I'm really only comfortable playing for like an hour and a half, 2 hours tops before I start to get like really sweaty.
How's VR?
Like every time I take my headset off after playing this game, I'm like, my brow is like completely drenched. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But again, the tutorial in this game is super fucking long.
Do you think it could be your headset
What?
that's making you sweaty?
Well,
I mean, it probably is because it's pressed against his skin and he's doing
Yeah.
like movements.
Or
And
are you
stuff
talking about
that.
like your whole body's in like a cold sweat?
No. It's just my sweating
it's-
where the headset is like squeezing my skull.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when I get like motion sick because of VR, I bust out into
mean-
like a cold sweat. But
Oh,
then
no,
again, a PC VR headset is very like
No,
suck
this
to
is
your face.
this
and
is
sweat.
literally just like the headset pressing on my
okay.
head, and like I usually turn the fan on because it starts to get really hot, and I'm just
Oh.
like, so.
I see.
And it's a very active game. A couple updates. Like I said, I'm still working through the tutorial. It's still teaching me all of the. Yeah, I know, dude. I'm still in this
I want you to tell me how much you actually played.
about
this past
5.5 hours.
week. Of this game. No,
This game.
in the past week
Oh, well,
since the last podcast.
probably 2 sessions, so about 3 hours.
And you're still in the tutorial.
Yes, I'm 5.5 hours in. I'm still in the first.
This still feels like a Chris Davis situation.
I'm still
when,
in the
when we
first-
found out he played 12 minutes of that game.
No, dude, I can tell you, I've had like 4 sessions total where I've played long enough to get really tired and really sweaty, so I had to stop.
Okay.
So, and keep in mind when I say tutorial, I'm saying like the first like full level of the game is it feels like a full on like dungeon with like puzzles, and there's like story stuff going on and characters and everything, but it does stop every few minutes to like take you into this like tutorial area where it teaches you how to do combat and stuff. And it's really important because for a while yesterday I realized I was doing parrying wrong. Well, not wrong, but like I realized if you're playing on the normal difficulty, so you have a sword and a shield, right?
Sure.
And if you block with the sword at the perfect time, they'll bounce off of it and like have a moment where they're open.
You block
to
with the
attacks.
shield?
No, well, you can block with the shield, but if you actually like block their sword with your sword,
Like you parry.
you parry.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they can only be damaged after they've been parried.
Sure.
So you have to parry it correctly, and I kept doing it wrong. And I was like, what the fuck am I missing? And I finally dug into the actual tutorial menus and stuff and found out that on the normal difficulty setting, it actually gauges how hard you thrust your hand.
Oh wow.
So if you just like hold it up and like block it, it's not enough. You have to actually like throw your arm out, which is pretty cool. But the coolest thing is this game straight up has the God of War axe mechanic.
Nice.
You finally get the axe and you can throw it, and then when you pull the trigger and yank your hand back, it comes flying back into your hand.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like Mjolnir.
yes, it's awesome.
Interesting.
It's really hard to be accurate, and I've like hit the ceiling fan is usually right above me, and the dangly bits,
the chains.
I keep hitting the chains, which drives me crazy. So I've gotten to the point where like when I have to throw the axe, instead of doing it overhead, I'm like bending down a little bit and doing like this,
like throwing it like a frisbee.
Yeah. But it's still really cool. But like
next, I'm like, hey Chief, is it cool if I hold my axe sideways?
Hey, I do what I gotta do.
Boy.
But it's really fucking cool. I unlocked a third animal friend. It's an eagle.
Nice.
And you can actually like you point at things and he'll like fly up and like flap his wings and create wind and like turn windmills and shit. It's cool. I still don't know.
When you get to hour 15, come back on the podcast.
I'm not going to bring footage for it again until I actually have a feeling for like how the game is structured, because I'm still in the same area I was last week. So, but I've got to be getting close to the end. I've got to.
This game is just a tutorial.
I mean,
No, that's Final Fantasy 13.
I still think it's insane how much content is in this game. I also spent like 15 minutes the other day just playing quarters in the bar because it's so fun.
Jesus.
It's so fun.
If you say so.
Also, you have to take a shot before you play each round of quarters. So like he'll
in
put
the game.
Yeah, in the game.
Okay.
So like it appears on the table, and you actually have to like reach over and pick it up and like do this motion to like, and then put it down before it lets you actually start.
Can I ask you
tossing the
something?
coins. Huh?
Do you prefer Norse mythology to high fantasy?
How dare you? Probably. I don't fucking know.
I'm just saying it's at that bottom of that list.
What? Norse mythology?
No.
What
Fantasy.
about like a
No,
Norse
it's
high
not.
fantasy?
It's not. I like.
Name a fictional genre that you typically see in video games that is lower than fantasy.
What do you mean lower?
Cooking.
On your list
Cooking.
of preferences.
Cooking.
Sports games.
Okay. No.
Sports games.
No, that's-
Racing games.
No, okay, stop it. Those are
Racist games.
those don't count.
You can't name bad
Seriously,
genres.
Strategy?
No,
What do you want me to say?
That's a type of gameplay. No, I'm talking about like
Give me the choices and I will rank them.
Genre doesn't have to be exclusive to theming.
No, but I'm specifically referring to
I need
theming.
you to then give me the choices and I
Well,
will rank them for
can
you.
we come up? Can we rattle them off?
Yes, please. I need you to. If you wanna...
Science fiction.
Okay, science fiction.
Don't overcomplicate it, Crispy. Just start saying them.
Science fiction.
How about
Horror.
how about
Science fantasy. Sci-fi horror.
how about modern
Fantasy
crime?
Science,
Modern crime?
Yeah,
Fantasy
like
horror.
Modern crime.
like
Historical crime.
GTA and stuff.
Future crime. I think you
I would
like
definitely
future
not.
crime.
I would definitely prefer a high fantasy over Grand Theft Auto.
Not to be
But I
confused
wouldn't prefer high fantasy over Red Dead Redemption.
with time crime.
Okay, so westerns and stuff.
But he likes dinosaurs, but he also likes sci-fi, so he loves dinosaurs.
You know, do you know what? You know what really is the most deciding factor? I think it doesn't even really matter what the genre is per se. It's to me, it's about the fucking like
Post-apocalypse.
It's the world, man. If the world looks beautiful and like fun to explore, that's what I'm into.
Post-apocalypse.
Sure, it's a pretty beautiful, fun to explore post-apocalypse.
Nick, are you racist?
What? Against
Asking
elves?
the real questions.
Is that what you're asking me?
You're
against
not
elves?
saying yes or no.
No, I'm not. I have one more game I just want to mention.
What about Assassin's Creed settings?
Well, what
I
is
love
that?
Assassin's Creed, obviously.
Well,
and also, yeah, what is that? That's science fiction and
Yeah,
That's-
and historical
That's
fiction.
science.
I mean, I love
Are both of those preferred?
I love historical fiction.
Over
How's
elves?
that? I love historical fiction.
I bet you do.
Why do you hate elves?
I think what we determined
Scarecrow-
here
How
is
is
that
that
it is at the bottom
historical?
of your
Fiction.
list.
Scarecrow.
There's
Okay, I will rank.
Crime,
I will
cowboy.
rank what Scarecrow just put in the chat: sci-fi, horror, crime, cowboy, dinosaur.
What
History.
about spies?
Wait, dinosaurs and history. Dinosaur history? Is that what?
What about cowboy crimes?
What about spies?
What about cowboys and aliens?
All right, my least favorite out of all of those he just named.
spy fiction?
What? Okay, I can't even. There's too many options here.
Spy fiction.
What about it?
Is that better than high fantasy?
Like it depends. You can't. That's not.
Is this the podcast?
This is the podcast. I don't know why he's asking me this because like there's been bad and great. I have one more game to talk about. Okay. Real quick. I've been playing. I mentioned before. I've been playing through Telltale's The Walking Dead. Right. Okay. I am almost at the end of season 1. I only wanted to mention it here because I think I was originally doing like, what is going on over there? I was originally doing like one episode per weekend. Mm-hmm. I think I'm gonna just start plowing through it, and I'm gonna finish the whole thing. You probably can
get through it pretty quick.
Because one, I'm remembering how much I love Clementine.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
I really would love to see her whole story, just in general. But two, because of what we're going to talk about in the second segment, which is Baldur's Gate, and how now I'm really.
What are your opinions on Duck?
He's still. Oh, God. So I'm playing it totally differently than I realized in the last time because I was like, I don't think Duck made it this far the last time I played.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to.
Just
Duck is dead.
What are you talking about?
I just wanted to mention because I'm excited. I'm really excited to maybe play Divinity Original Sin 2 because of what we're going to talk about in the second segment, which is Baldur's Gate 3. And I'm like, I don't want to throw another game on the pile. I'm playing many things.
You're playing Tales from the Walking Dead.
I'm playing
Telltale's the Walking Dead, but not Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah, we talked a lot about this.
We talked too much about this.
Why? I don't understand.
Okay, first of all, I was in the mood specifically for The Walking Dead, so that's why I'm playing The Walking Dead.
But this is like Tales from the Borderlands. It's like sci-fi though.
I fucking hate you, Nolan. I
thought we just talked about you like sci-fi.
I feel attacked.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking! I saw that smile on Nolan's face, and I just knew. I knew what he was going for.
I just love smiling. Smiling's my favorite.
Thing, because everybody seems to want to attack me for.
Let me ask you: did you play the Game of Thrones Telltale game?
No, because you said it was bad.
It is bad.
I played it too. Do you know why we played it?
Because Tales of the Borderlands.
Because we like fantasy.
We like
but do you know why?
We like swords, Nick.
But do you know why you gave Tales from the Borderlands a chance?
What?
Because of The Walking Dead.
Tales from the Borderlands?
Yeah.
No, I don't like that because it's a good game.
Yeah, because we heard it's really
Brad,
good.
I would point out, though, that earlier when he said he liked Game of Thrones, you were like, that doesn't count.
No. It counts. But, like, you can't literally pick the biggest, like, fantasy movie series ever and the biggest fantasy television series ever and say, well, I like those.
Legend of Zelda.
You're literally putting me in the spot.
Zelda's not fantasy.
You're literally.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Listen. Legend of Zelda's not fantasy, this guy says. Everyone point and laugh at this dumb man.
It's Japanese. It's different.
Let me tell you something.
J fantasy.
Wow.
Doesn't count.
Let me tell you something, you punk ass bitch.
You're dumb.
You've been over here trying to slander me by saying I hate. It's
not slander.
Dude, can you let me get a fucking sentence out?
You've
been over here trying to make me seem like I don't like high fantasy stuff, and I keep asking you to name pieces of high fantasy that you think I don't like, and you have not been able to name a single one.
No, but see, I've been giving a lot of examples.
You've been dodging the fucking question.
I've been giving a lot of examples of fantasy things that a person who's really into fantasy would immediately like start playing as soon as it comes out.
Like what?
Like Dragon Age Inquisition.
Bitch, I bought that day one and played it for 15 hours.
You bought every game day one,
dude. But I played it for 15 hours. What do you want me to tell you? What do you want me to tell you? I bought it on day one and played it for 15 hours. What do you want me to tell you?
I remember that year. Nick, you did not play that 15 hours when it came out. You played it later in the year.
Fuck yourself. I bought that on day one and played it for 15 hours.
When you were a kid, how many times did you watch The Page Master?
I don't even know what that is.
Exactly. I know.
There's a difference between not liking...
And it shows.
There is a difference between not liking something and not even knowing what it is.
What? Well, sure. No, I mean, that was a joke.
This weekend is the weekend that The Page Master becomes one of Nick's favorite movies.
Look,
I was gonna watch Yojimbo this weekend. Should I push that back?
No, you should.
It's only funny to me because you're so defensive. Like, if I accused Carlos of it, he'd be like, yeah, you're probably right.
Well, yeah, it's because Carlos is a weird animal, okay?
No, that's not the weird reaction.
But you started this conversation.
No,
that's what we're even having right now.
I'm saying I'm willing to admit that I prefer fantasy to science fiction.
But you are also insisting that I like things more than high fantasy.
It was an observation. It never meant to become like
It is an observation I'm trying to tell you I don't think you're correct about, but you're insisting, and now we're arguing about it.
I think you don't like people making observations.
Yes, that's clearly...
I think you like ignorance.
What is even...
I prefer...
No.
I can't tell if people are going to listen to this podcast
Nick.
and enjoy it, or if
Nick,
they're...
Nick. Have you ever looked at a sword and went, that's cool?
Yes!
Then you like fantasy.
No, look,
Yes!
so I give this example maybe off the stream. People who are into fantasy haven't just played and loved Divinity Original Sin. Those motherfuckers tried Divinity 2.
Wait,
Before
are
they
you-
started making good one of those.
Wait,
And-
you're gatekeeping. You're telling me I don't like high fantasy because I haven't played Divinity Original Sin 2 yet, even though I'm about to tell you how excited I am to play Divinity Original Sin 2.
No, I told you, this isn't gatekeeping when I want you to come in.
His butt.
But I need
I'm
to know
holding
whether
that
or not
gate.
you've been in before or not.
I'm holding
Are
the
you
door
a
wide
returning
open.
customer, or is this your first time, Nick?
No, I'm excited that you want to play Baldur's Gate. But, I mean...
It's not good enough, though. It's
You've
not good enough.
You've not. No, but see, you don't understand. I'm not saying it like it's a bad thing. It's just that you're so on the
Brad's not a
defensive.
gatekeeper. He's the doorman.
You're such on the defensive about it.
before you.
You're so on the defensive about my observation that you make it seem like I'm gatekeeping.
I'm not on the defensive.
I'm not saying
though.
it's a bad thing. I'm not even proud of the fact that I prefer fantasy to other things.
You made an observation. I'm simply telling you I think your
I'm
observation
slightly
is
embarrassed
bullshit.
that I prefer fantasy to other genres.
I don't care. I'm telling you that I think your observation is kind of bullshit, and you keep insisting that you're correct.
I just started thinking about like all the Far Cry games that made your number one and shit, and it's like I just sort of you asked me like, is the story in Divinity
First
even
of all,
good?
the last Far
Well,
Cry
like-
game that made my number one
Okay, but
was
you're missing
Far
my
Cry
point.
3.
You're missing my point. But what I'm saying is, you asked that question like, is the story in Divinity even good?
No, okay, first of all,
And it's
that
like-
is not how I phrased the question. I phrased the question as, hey, I remember when we talked about Divinity Original Sin 2, I heard so many conversations about how good the mechanics were and how the
That
systems
came later.
were.
That came later.
And I don't remember a lot about people saying much about the story. And I was simply asking if the story is also really, really well done. Can we move on? I don't
Yeah,
even know
we
why
can.
you... I was talking about The Walking Dead. What have you done to me?
Would you say you prefer zombie fiction?
Days Gone.
Boom.
You know what?
Would you prefer biker fiction?
Yeah. What if it was bikers with swords fighting
Ooh.
robot dragons?
That sounds great, but remove the swords and the dragons.
Oh, but what if they're No, that's great. That's great. That's great. Now, take out the dragon. Let's replace it with helicopters.
You know what it is? I think fantasy has a harder time selling a serious story because it's like kind of ridiculous. Well, you know what?
Let's
move on,
That
let's move
might
on.
have been true 20 years ago,
Yeah,
but like
maybe,
you can't
maybe.
say that
Yeah, that's
today.
true.
You really can't.
That's true.
Thanks for listening, guys. We're going to take a quick break.
I just want to be clear that I never meant my observation as an insult. Okay.
We love you. We love
I
you.
know
Brad.
you-
It's not even a.
I
It wasn't
know.
even like a qualitative observation. It really wasn't.
I know. I was simply just trying to tell you that...
No, I love it so much.
I mean, as someone who really likes fantasy, I'm like bothered a little bit
Nick
by the fact
has-
that you think I hate it or
Nick
something.
has-
But see,
the-
you were bothered when I said that I didn't think you would really be into Kentucky Route Zero. I think any sort of like what do you mean? What do you mean I wouldn't be into that? How dare you?
You're keeping
But
the cool stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't mean to keep the cool stuff. That's not my intention. I just want to,
Well, I just thought it was strange you didn't think I'd be into Kentucky Route Zero because it seemed to me like the style of like maybe.
Okay, to be clear, this isn't the podcast.
You're right,
We
you're
definitely cut
Well, we'll
when
sort-
you said we'll
All right,
be right
I'm
back.
fading out right now. I'm
We're
fading out right now.
circle back around to this when we talk about Baldur's Gate.
No, why?
I'm gonna keep that. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are not going to talk about high fantasy at all during this segment. Wait,
Except for
I'm
Baldur's
sorry. I lied. We're going to start with the Baldur's Gate.
No, what?
3
No,
discussion.
let's do the other stuff.
Oh, no.
Baldur.
Who's hosting this chicken
No.
or something?
Okay.
You know what? You're right. Let's do the small. Let's get the small things out of the way first.
Small.
There's been 2 more Platinum announcements. We're gonna start with that.
Yay.
The Platinum 4 continues.
Are you saying kaiju fiction is below fantasy fiction? Since this is the smaller announcement
You
to you?
piece of shit. You better stop. Platinum Games. This is the second announcement of the Platinum 4. Platinum Games announced their first 100% Platinum-owned IP, and it's right now. I don't know. I'm assuming this is a working title or the project title called Project GG.
Project
Yeah.
GG.
Good game.
Directed by Hideki Kamiya.
Directed by Hideki Kamiya.
And of course it's a new IP. That's what he does.
And it's a kaiju. It looks like it's going to be very kaiju centric,
It
right?
looks like Ultraman.
it looks like Ultraman. It looks like kaiju. So it actually looks like somewhat related to Beautiful Joe. The at the beginning of Beautiful Joe, Joe's in a theater with his girlfriend watching a movie, and the movie that they're watching is like straight up this fucking teaser.
Maybe.
Also, like in the trailer, it says a go-go, which is Hinchin' a go-go, baby. I mean
Yeah.
that's direct reference to Beautiful Joe.
Yep.
And they call this like the end of the superhero trilogy from Kamiya. I'm assuming they're referencing Wonderful 101.
Yeah, they're
and
referencing Beautiful Joe, Wonderful 101. This is
Yeah.
supposed to be the third game in that genre
Which-
fiction.
It's not surprising that there's these very close references to his older material. I mean, Wonderful 101, you play a character who looks almost just like Beautiful Joe. So, it's not super
In this
surprising.
teaser, we didn't really get a good look at the main character. We just more got a feeling for the type of fiction it is, and like maybe the tone looks a lot darker than Beautiful Joe and Wonderful 101. But it looks cool.
Are we somewhat worried, though?
I mean, I'm not.
I mean,
gonna be
it's a
worried,
Hideki Kamiya game. His last one got canceled by Microsoft.
but this is 100% Platinum owned. So
Yeah.
I mean, we're starting to see they're kind of reaping the benefits now of their recent Tencent partnership, I guess. Now they're getting into self-publishing. This is their first 100% developed and published Platinum game, and that's kind of exciting. I wish the teaser gave more of an idea of what the game itself is going to be like, but count me in. I'm interested.
It seems like Kamiya definitely has like these, he kind of goes for like his certain themes from like game to game and like certain visions that are different but related. Like he's like, oh, Dante is arrogance and Bayonetta is like sexiness or whatever. And I feel like with Wonderful 101, it's like, I feel like this is gonna play with scale in a way that like Wonderful 101 did, but from the other end. And I feel like that I'm reading that not just because they're huge, right? But because that is so Kamiya.
Yeah.
And it makes me excited to see what this game's going to be
Absolutely.
like.
Fuck yeah.
Absolutely. I hope we find out more about it sooner rather than later, but I don't know. Maybe after the Wonderful 101 ports make it out and this whole Kickstarter thing is behind us, we'll start to see more of it. The other Platinum news is slightly less exciting. They announced they opened a new studio in Tokyo. This is actually one of the Platinum 4 announcents. This is the third one.
This is the tragically disappointing and
It was
frustrating
exciting
one.
at first, just the thought of Platinum growing, getting another studio. We love the studio. And then we find out that this is a studio that's focused 100% on games as a service. So, and that's going to make some people happy. I think it makes most of us here in this room.
It's not going to make people happy. Come on.
Dude,
Japanese people.
I'm fairly certain there are going to be plenty of people who play this game and enjoy it a lot.
Sure.
Well, yeah, what does that even mean? Like in Japan, that means mobile game, right? Here it means Destiny. In Japan, it means mobile game. It means gacha. That's what I feel like.
I mean,
but I feel like either way, you either have like when you make games as a service, it's either miserable failure or huge success. And I feel like miserable failure means Platinum's at risk again, and huge success means this is all Platinum cares about. How many times have we seen this happen, especially amongst smaller Japanese studios, where they strike gold with mobile, and then that's all they fucking do?
But clearly, it's not. Platinum has demonstrated time and time and time again that that is clearly not all they care about.
Yeah, but they've never really struck gold.
But this is if they strike
Not
gold.
even close.
If they strike gold, that's great, dude. They clearly have interest in making all kinds of different projects. if they strike gold with this, it'll fund so many other exciting projects that Platinum.
That's
I
the
think.
hope.
I think Platinum
That's
is
the
one
hope.
of the few studios I feel like I can trust to kind of always
Still waiting on Shadow Complex too.
have interest in making different kinds of experiences, different kinds of games, or core games, if you will. Like, I don't think they're just going to go like super casual. I don't think that's going to happen. But it is kind of a bummer knowing that this, like, the first thought I had when I saw this was like, oh shit, they got a new studio. Maybe they're going to be making the next Nier game. It's like, well, that's clearly not happening. But I don't know. Oh, I mean, unless it's a fucking,
Near.
you know,
I don't
Gotcha.
mobile game,
I don't
gotcha
like
game.
it. I don't like
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I'm not super happy about it. But anyways, let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk about the high fantasy. Oh shit! So today was the
Dark fantasy.
today was the first day of PAX East and
Science fantasy.
the long-awaited debut of Baldur's Gate 3 gameplay.
Let me tell you why I think that, Brad.
Wait, what did you say? What did you say? You think?
Science fantasy.
Oh,
We don't have to start there.
No, talk
Let-
about Baldur's Gate.
let's talk about Baldur's Gate for a second, okay? Because
You ever played any of the Baldur's Gate games? I guess you played Dark Alliance, right?
me?
Yeah.
No, are you trying to trap me here?
No. I'm just.
I have never played a
curious
Baldur's
about
Gate
where
game.
everybody is.
It's been one of those games that like kind of eluded me. To be honest, like it's just one of those series that's like it's always been very intimidating. As someone,
It's old as PC. I feel like this is going to be like a Fallout 3 situation
probably.
where people understand it's like a very revered thing, but like the old ones are so old, people are just going to like start here maybe.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that's,
Is there something wrong with that?
No, there's nothing
no.
wrong with that. I mean, those Baldur's Gate games are really hard to go back to. Even though Baldur's Gate 2 is like considered to be one of the greatest RPGs / games of all time,
it's not the most accessible these days. I mean,
it's still really hard to go back to because
it is tempting though
Advanced
because they
Dungeons
did
and
just
Dragons
release Baldur's Gate 1 and 2
2
in a bundle on the Switch and on PS4 and all that stuff. So it's probably more accessible now than it's ever been before.
you have to know what THACO is to play Baldur's Gate.
I don't know what that is. So there we go. I guess I'm not playing it. But yeah, they showed about an hour to an hour and a half of gameplay today at PAX East. And I'm going to be honest, since the game was announced, I knew it was a really big deal because Baldur's Gate is revered, obviously, and
At a glance, it looked very Divinity Original Sin, and then this happened.
where they zoom in on the conversations and it suddenly
It's
feels
not.
like,
It's not even zooming in. This is like these are cinematic angles. There's nothing like this in Divinity.
I know
Original
this is
Sin.
this is straight up like a fucking like BioWare game in terms of like just cinematic camera angles and whatnot when you're talking to
BioWare.
people.
You mean the makers of Baldur's Gate?
Yeah,
I guess that's
You're right.
why they feel compelled to.
I do forget that Baldur's Gate was originally made by
Yeah.
BioWare,
Yeah.
and Larian has kind of come along and become like the new exciting.
Yeah,
name
it seems very Dragon Age, which was the BioWare spiritual successor to Baldur's Gate because they didn't have that license anymore, so they made their own. It's exciting though, right?
So when they first announced this game, I was like, okay, it's cool. Larian has a lot of cred now. Everybody loved Divinity Original Sin 2, and Baldur's Gate obviously is a big deal. But in my head, when they announced they were doing Baldur's Gate 3, I did not expect to see this game in motion and then think to myself, holy shit, this game looks incredible.
Okay, so original Sin games look beautiful.
I know they do, but like, I don't know how to put it. I know they have a really good
This
look
is
to
the
them.
same engine.
It's the same engine.
Oh yeah.
But they're going for a much more cinematic presentation here than I think. And again,
There's such a we'll get to it in a second, but there's such a missing chapter from this story that's kind of hilarious when you go back to think about it. It's that this is not the first time they've made this type of game. Divinity Original Sin 2 are their Kickstarter successes. They're the throwbacks to Baldur's Gate. But they've been making Divinity games since like around the same time Baldur's Gate 2 came out. And then they did this type of game. It was called Divinity 2. And it had cinematic conversations like this and third person cameras and big overly ambitious, world design. Like,
but they didn't have the cred or the budget at that point to make it like really
I mean,
stand out.
it was just Eurojank back then.
Yeah, and this studio has grown tremendously over the past 2-3 years.
Yeah, but like that arc is so strange because they went from making this type of game and they just weren't very good at it. So they sort of looked back and tried to make one that a Divinity game that was kind of like their old Divinity games or old CRPGs, and that's sort of what made them successful and grow. And now they're making one of these again, kind of, even though it's still a lot like Original Sin. But like this thing, what you're seeing here is like
That's a woman.
yeah, oh, a woman.
The dialogue choices.
Oh, okay.
No, like yeah, that's sort of conversations with people where you're zoomed in and you're seeing people like talking and emote, like that. They've done that before.
And it was
people
really,
forget though.
It was also really cool, like watching the demonstration today and like seeing them go into, or they showed like he picked the character type that he picked, like, and he cycled through a bunch of different pre-built characters that you can choose from and whatnot, and like their backstories and stuff. But like the character he picked was I forgot what he called it. It's a vampire.
He's a high elf rogue who is also a vampire spawn.
Yes. So like as soon as he loaded into the world, like his first interactions and like comments and thoughts to himself had to do with his role in that world and how he was in the sunlight and how he was hungry, he needed to feed, and that kind of shit. And I don't know, I wasn't expecting it to go nearly as deep as this, because this hour and a half long demonstration shows off a lot of stuff on both the mechanical side and just the presentation side, and almost all of it was pretty fucking
it's
impressive.
crazy. Like if you watched an hour and a half presentation of Divinity Original Sin 2, you'd be just as excited, but you never did. And a lot of people didn't. People are now, because it has the Baldur's Gate name, even though a lot of those people didn't play Baldur's Gate. It's like with Fallout 3. People knew that Fallout was something to be excited about, and it was from a developer that they liked, because they made Elder Scrolls. This is a similar situation, and now people are hopefully going to realize that this studio is fucking genius. And
so personally, the one thing that really pushes this above Divinity for me is, I mean, yes, the Dungeons and Dragons IP, but also because the game engine is D&D 5th edition. Like, you have the same skills, you have the same, like, it's all run on D20 dice rolls. Your character sheet is literally just a 5th edition character sheet.
It was really cool too when he was making decisions that would require dice rolls and whatnot, and like the way the dice actually comes up in the middle of the screen, everything kind of fades out, and you actually see the roll.
That's cool.
And it puts
hopefully
the DC
you can also turn that off.
It puts the DC up so that you can see like what you have to. So like
it's funny how you approach that conversation.
Like when you see him do like aim his bow and it's like 90% hit chance. What you don't see is if you open up the little bottom window, it'll show you the calculations of like, this is what his 2-hit is with his bow. He's got advantage, so he's gonna roll it twice. This character the character he's attacking has this armor class, and it's.
You can literally
D&D.
You can literally open a window that gives you a view into like the inner workings of what's happening.
It just shows you all the dice rolls. Yeah. So I mean,
you could theoretically do that.
You could, and Divinity had a really cool system in place too. It wasn't exactly that, but when they brought out that Game Master mode, like kind of one of the selling points of it was like, oh, you can kind of use this as a virtual tabletop to run D&D, but the downside was you couldn't use the actual like in-game fight mechanics to just like run combats.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't the same thing. It wasn't the same stats. It wasn't built the same way. Their spell system is completely different.
Yeah.
Divinity has kind of more of a, like, I guess I would call it like a modern spell system where everything's just a little bit more like streamlined. It's built on a point pool. Everything is like overly focused on elemental spells, which is a really cool thing in Divinity, and the way they interact is really neat, but you kind of miss out on him just like fucking around with this mage hand, made me squeal with excitement. Like, it was so fucking cool. Like, I am crazy excited to play a wizard.
He also mentioned I forgot what the technical term they called it was, but bonus actions or bonus.
Yeah, you have bonus actions.
Bonus actions. So in this case, he he used a bonus action because he was cornered and he was running low on health, and he knew he didn't have a very high percentage of being able to like take out the two enemies in front of him. So he used a bonus action to like jump a great distance away from his enemies, which I thought was pretty cool. But he said that there's going to be a bunch of different variations of those kinds of abilities, which seem exciting.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is like.
They also mentioned verticality and like how this game is going to be tremendously vertical,
which is that's one of the strengths of especially Divinity Original Sin 2. You don't really typically see that sort of geography, whatever you want to call it, in an isometric CRPG like this. And a lot of the cool movement stuff is one of the things that made Original Sin, especially 2, so awesome. So it's good to see all that here. I mean, this is. I'm just so glad people are going to play a Divinity Original Sin game.
I'm very, very
that's
excited.
What this seems like.
So you know this whole silly conversation we started having in this podcast earlier about the fantasy shit was all sparked because in Discord I had asked the question because I watched almost all of this presentation today while it was happening, and I was thinking to myself like, holy shit, I cannot wait for this. But with the caveat that it's coming out in early access first. I am personally,
which is absurd.
It's kind of absurd. I'm personally not going to touch the game until it's in final. So I was like, obviously, there's a ways to go.
It feels absurd because it's one Baldur's Gate, and you don't think of like a classic IP to be something that would go into early access. And two, those Original Sin games were both Kickstarter games, so yeah, sure, early access, get your backer early access sort of thing. It's so weird.
It is. It's strange, but
we're hoping.
The hope is that the early access period is relatively short.
Hopefully,
and then the final game
they said early access would happen in a couple months.
Yeah. So hopefully,
probably by summer.
Yeah, June or July.
But they're
maybe.
only going to have half the classes available.
Yeah.
Sure,
six
sure,
classes.
Yeah.
But so
6 or
I mean,
7 races.
it sounds like they're essentially using this is like
this could be a
QA,
November
right?
release.
This is an opportunity to help people find bugs and shit, right?
Yeah.
But I immediately had this thought of like, well, it's going to be a little while before I get to play this. And I was like so into watching this. I was like, now is the time. I feel the itch to play Divinity Original Sin 2, which I own, just haven't played it yet. So I asked the question, because I always remember hearing us talk about the mechanics of Divinity 2 Original Sin 2 being so great and so addicting, but I don't remember many conversations about the writing and the story presentation or anything like that, or the lore. And I was just saying, is the draw of that game similar to the draw of Baldur's Gate in relation to like its lore and its storytelling? And your answer was what? Yes, the story is great.
Yeah,
because I saw some people saying, "eh."
I mean, okay, the story, like the plot of the main story, is that your question?
I mean, I'm just saying it. Will I enjoy it for the same reasons I would enjoy Baldur's Gate?
There was a lot of really
lore.
interesting like narrative mechanics and stuff that made, I think, the storytelling in Divinity Original Sin 2 especially like super compelling. Like I think they're really good storytellers. The plot goes some strange places, but I think they're really good storytellers.
I feel like that's
we talked a lot about
that's
it.
kind of the same
we
way.
We talked a lot about it,
sure.
about like the companions.
But for some reason, you expect me to remember every detail of every conversation we've had in this podcast.
No, it's.
I never.
I'm sorry, Crispy. I didn't remember that you had played No Man's Sky in VR. I apologize.
That is
Brad,
weird, though.
I'm sorry that I forgot you had talked about loving the
It's
story.
just weird that you looked at No Man's Sky VR and just like completely forgot that we talked about it. But whatever, Nick.
I'm just an asshole. What can I say?
Hey, you wanna know another reason why I'm really excited about this game?
Yes.
It's because of something from the opening cutscene of the game,
which was also awesome. By the way,
it was amazing,
Holy
right?
Shit.
You see these mind flayers fly in on their like fucking their ship,
yes,
right? So
their mollusk ship.
So we knew that mind flayers were gonna be the enemies, like the Illithid were gonna be the main bad guys. But in Forgotten Realms, the Illithid also live underground in the Underdark, right? Like, they live under the earth.
Yes.
But these ones came in a spaceship from out there, okay? That ship that they were flying is called a cephalo... what is it called?
A cephalopod?
No, it's something cephalopoid or something. I don't remember. But that ship design is the Illithid ship design from a different D&D setting called Spelljammer. which is kind of like their science fantasy setting. And Spelljammer is all about D&D in space.
So maybe we're gonna
It's about flying around in ships that navigate the phlogiston of reality and can like plane shift and do all this crazy shit. And there's been other things that D&D has been releasing recently. Like they've been putting out, they periodically will put out like playtest materials for like stuff they're working on of like character classes and character options. Like, hey, try this out. And like they've been putting out a lot over the last month, and they all have this distinctly like either science fantasy feel or like planar travel, the Feywild, like all this shit that kind of like suggests that they're going to be that their next big push is going to be to bring back Spelljammer, which hasn't been around since AD&D 2nd edition.
I'm curious what Nolan thinks about all this.
And
I
think the story might go. I think the story of Baldur's Gate 3 might go in that direction.
That would be cool if like something they just,
I think later in the game this is gonna start getting like
genre flippy,
planeswalky, and like
that's not out of the realm for Divinity. Went places like that.
That's exciting. I love that shit.
Like it went. Like I'd say more.
You know why I love that shit,
original
Brad?
Sin 1.
Because I love both science fiction and high fantasy, and to see them kind of crisscross a little
Not
bit.
straight up science fiction, but you know, it did get a little
Sure.
cosmic. I'm talking about Divinity.
All right, well,
No, I'm curious what Nolan thinks about this.
So, I've never played a Baldur's Gate game.
Yeah.
you did play Divinity 2, didn't you? Or no?
Never played Divinity.
Have you played a CRPG?
How do you
Oh,
feel
I mean,
about
I don't know.
fantasy?
I don't think I've never
No.
played.
What's up, Brad?
How do you feel about fantasy?
I like fantasy.
I believe you.
Fucking asshole. You fucking dick.
It's one of those things where this style of game does attract me, but I feel like I get overwhelmed easily with this style of game as well. I feel like I spend too much time on the meta.
Yeah.
And I end up not enjoying it as much because I try to min-max things when I really shouldn't be doing that. And so because of that way my brain works, I tend to kind of avoid these types of games because I know I will get frustrated and spend 30 hours on what should have been like 5 hours of gameplay.
I do the same thing. In fact, it really hurt my Divinity Original Sin 2 playthrough in the end.
I'm
metagaming.
going to be honest. So, we've talked a lot about genre or whatever, but I don't, unless I'm forgetting one, I don't think I've ever actually played a CRPG before.
You literally just played one.
What? See, this is why I have a terrible memory. What game are you referring
It's
to?
probably on your top 10 list.
Oh, Disco Elysium?
Yeah.
Is that, I guess that is technically a CRPG.
Very much so.
I didn't think of it as a CRPG because of, I guess, the setting. and
Also, you played Dragon Age 1 and 2.
those are I mean,
Well, Dragon
Maybe-
Age 1 definitely is.
Yeah, Dragon Age is.
I don't consider. When I say CRPG, I'm more thinking of it in terms of specifically like this style of like top down, like Divinity,
Isometric style.
yeah, like isometric RPG. Like when I think of like classic Fallout, I think of Baldur's Gate,
Okay.
you know, that kind of stuff. I've never played a game like that. I think Disco Elysium is probably the closest to that.
Sure.
In fact, I would say that straight up is the type of game I'm thinking of. I just didn't think of it that way because of the genre.
Well, I mean,
is so dramatically different.
This type of game is for people who like Dragon Age Origins as well, you know. So you don't have to love, you know, only old isometric shit, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, look at this. This doesn't look like.
it looks incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful game.
Fucking incredible.
And
Well,
if you like XCOM combat, you'll probably like the combat system.
I
in
did
this.
love XCOM.
You know, like people like turn-based combat.
Yeah.
And it's great here. So.
Sweet. All right. Well, that's it for news.
I'm glad to see the elemental jazz is still in this game. You know,
Sweet.
where you can set water on fire and make steam and all that sort of stuff.
Very exciting. Very, very, very exciting. All right. So now we're just gonna answer some questions for the rest of the show. We have a pretty good amount. I do also have a supporter spotlight, which I'm gonna do. I know it's been a few weeks since we've done that, but actually, our supporter spotlight is in chat tonight. By the Goddess, I saw her a little while ago, is our supporter spotlight. So I will do that right before we go into
What?
transition into.
She is?
Yeah.
Did she cheat or something?
What? No.
I'm just kidding.
I will say the only thing like maybe slightly controversial about Baldur's Gate 3 that might upset Baldur's Gate fans is that real time with pause is gone. Only turn based.
That is true.
There were a lot of people in the
Just
YouTube
kidding.
chat that were like, as soon as he started doing the turn based thing, we're like, Baldur's Gate's dead.
Yeah.
Like, I hate this
Yeah.
game.
Even though
Of
turn
course.
based is more like Dungeons and Dragons than real time with pause, but whatever.
I feel like that's so narrow minded. Jesus Christ. Anyways.
Well, Baldur's Gate fans are. I mean, there's a console for you, and it's called Pillars of Eternity.
Mm.
Even though they went turn based, also because they realized it was better.
All right. We're going to do some viewer questions.
We have one new patron.
One new patron.
Mhm.
Who is it?
Brian.
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 Thank you.
Or maybe Brain, and he just spelled it wrong.
Sure. Thanks, Brain. We appreciate it. Thank you for supporting us. If you are a supporter on Patreon at any tier, or if you support us on Twitch as a subscriber, you are eligible to ask us questions. Anything you want, really, and we will answer it on the show. We're going to go through a bunch tonight.
I mean, so I know you had mentioned it earlier, but none are highlighted, so we're just starting from number one and working our way
Yeah,
down
I feel this would be a good opportunity
Fuck
to
it.
do that.
Let's
to get
do
some
it.
of the older ones.
Yeah, we do have a lot, so let's try.
Let's
follow any
just
of these.
bow and arrow these off.
God damn it.
Just like Legolas from Lord of the Rings, just spam some bow and arrows.
All right. Well, first one from Zero Skies. What has been your most expensive impulse buy that you can remember?
Ooh, shit! Impulse buy.
Impulse.
I like to think I'm very.
Oh, is this gaming related?
No,
It didn't necessarily
it
say
said
gaming
impulse.
related, just impulse buy.
I don't think I buy many things.
I'm not an impulse
Yeah,
buyer.
neither am I.
And it's actually something
1,000
that
reviews.
Bernadette hates about me.
Yeah.
Is because the problem is I can't buy a product without reading
Yeah.
at least reviews from 5 different websites, watching 5 different YouTube videos.
Yeah. Going into a store's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Because I'm like on my phone.
What
What do people say about
comparing
this?
it to other things? Like
It's a can of soup.
I hate that about myself, but I mean, I just have to like make sure I'm getting the best product for what I'm getting, and also getting a good deal on said product.
Yeah.
I don't take it quite that far, but I very rarely just say, "Ooh, I want that," and buy it.
They're all a bunch of
Dude,
fucking
Malia hates it
passionless losers.
so much. Malia like heckles me if I go like for example, I'm interested in. Well, this is my fuck you. I'm interested in buying like a Castlevania action figure from GameStop, and I'll go in there and I'll look at it and I'll be like, no, I'm not gonna buy it. Malia will heckle me for going into a place and not buying something.
Oh shit! So, go ahead.
When I was in college, I used to indulge in the electric lettuce, as it were, and
Yes.
Me and my friends would like go out to Walmart like in the middle of the night. And one time I went and like I saw a fucking like $80 Nerf gun and was like, yup.
I have to have this.
Bought that. I used to go to like Best Buy once a week and just like any DVD that looked cool was like,
Okay,
"Yup,
so-
buying that.
So I think when it comes to impulse buying, specifically when it comes to movies, when I go into a store, that's when I impulse buy. When I see a movie, I'm like, I love that movie. That's a fairly good price. I'm gonna buy that. I do that all the time. Also, when I start to think, like, I spend a lot of time thinking about games that I want to play, even though I know my plate is currently full, and I'm sitting here thinking like, oh man. And sometimes the urge to play something, I'm like, even if I know I can't play it right now, but I know I'm going to, and I want to make sure I'm ready for it when the need hits me. Sometimes I'll just straight up go into Amazon, throw it in my cart, and buy it, even though I know I have no intention of playing it. I'm getting better at it. I almost bought a Tales game the other day, and I was like, what am I doing right now?
What
I
are
have
you doing?
no time to play one of
I'd
these
recommend
games.
Tales of Berseria.
That's what I almost bought.
But
a good
I
one.
also wouldn't recommend it to you. Don't be offended.
I'm offended.
I feel like you keep anime even below fantasy.
That is true. But
Um,
occasionally I do really like the idea
Nick,
of playing anime.
I feel
related
really
things.
bad about your movie collection though.
Why?
Because 32K gyms are going to be like the only thing to watch movies on.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Years from now, the 32K gyms,
I don't know what you're talking about.
you're going to have a bunch of Blu-ray discs and everyone's going to be watching their movies on 32K gyms.
Yeah, and I'll still have we still have a VCR in our house.
And how often do you watch a tape?
I don't. Robin watches them
So Robin has a VCR
quite a
player.
bit.
What is she watching?
Usually Disney movies. It's her VCR has tried to eat her copy of Aladdin like 4 times since we started dating.
Jesus Christ, get Disney Plus.
We do have Disney Plus. That's the funny thing.
All right, let's move on. Next
question.
God.
Oh, this is a Carlos question.
God damn it. What is one thing you regret the most from the time you've been involved with 4Player? Carlos.
The thing I regret the most?
Yeah.
Maybe the friends I made along the way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Any event involving Carlos.
Oh man, it probably has something to do with jumping on an opportunity to like, I'm admittedly like less interested in like the idea of being like huge, and I probably could have. There are probably plenty of opportunities we could have like, done something to maybe become more successful, but I was like, I don't know. I wasn't super interested in that side of things.
Biggest regret.
So maybe I missed out on some of those.
Mike's birthday podcast.
What's wrong? That was such a great podcast.
Have you listened to that podcast?
No, I refuse to.
It's fucking horrible.
Who fucking cares?
It's fucking
It was
horrible.
fun.
Hey, but we've done 632 of these at least, and I guarantee you, probably like, I'd say like a good 1/8 of them are probably terrible.
Dude, no, that podcast was so bad.
I regret.
But it was so much fun when we were recording it.
Well, sure.
I don't.
Not fun to fucking listen to.
I find it funny that people thought that we're so offended by it. Not offended, because we didn't do anything offensive. We just we made a very
turned off.
unlistenable podcast.
It was horrible.
A lot of our podcasts are, though, if you think about it.
Yeah,
I regret becoming too nice on my streams. I felt like I was much more entertaining to watch when I was a complete a-hole. No, I'm just kidding. But it's true, though, if you think about it.
You regret
also,
not jumping on that Scooter Brothers shit?
I regret listening to the dweebs who just say, "Man, just play what you want. We want to watch you play just what you want. If you don't want to play a horror game, man, don't play a horror game. Play a JRPG, bro. We're here for you." But then, like 95% of the people.
But then, as soon as you play that JRPG, everyone leaves.
Yeah, fucking assholes.
All right, I think that adequately answers the question. Oh no! At the time we we did a panel at a convention.
I should have never stopped playing horror
with
games.
Nero and Jim.
No, it was at like an anime convention.
At Matsuri.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that one was so fucking bad.
And David, we were showing clips and stuff, and David insisted on showing the clip of Brad playing with the
PlayStation Move animals. What was that?
Yeah, the
using it like his dick.
iPad or whatever. Dude, that was fucking horrible because before the fucking panel started, this little girl comes up to us and she's like, "Yeah, my parents brought me and her parents are like, "Yeah, we always hear her talking about you and she watches your videos all the time." When was this? Like 2010, 2011?
Something like that.
And and then we're like, "Yeah, we're glad you made it here." And then we start watching the video of Brad fucking coming on the little fucking pet animal with the Move controller. And those parents and that girl get up and walk out of the fucking panel.
I think
the parents are like, "Nope." And they just fucking walked out.
I think that they missed some good clips after that. I think
we shouldn't have started with that one. That was like the second clip.
We shouldn't have opened with that one. But that might be my biggest regret.
It was pretty bad.
I'll say this though, I had no say in the planning of that panel, so just putting that out there. Not my fault. I wonder if she still listens. Anyways,
I came on several years ago. Technology? 10 years is several years ago?
It's been the majority of the run of the
10 years is several years ago?
Let's do the next question, Nolan.
Fuck you. Next question this week from Kenton. What's a good book you guys have read lately?
Ooh.
I just finished reading The Outsider last night.
Ooh.
It's pretty good. Although I don't know if Stephen King nailed
The Outsiders?
No, The Outsider.
It's like Soda Pop and Dairy and
There you go.
Boy.
That one.
No. Good book. I don't think Stephen King made the ending quite as enthralling as it could have been. But the show is fantastic. I'm really looking forward to finishing it now. But pretty good book. Pretty good read.
I literally just started a new one and I can't remember what it's called.
So I have been going back through the Witcher series.
I read. What's the first Witcher book called? I read that one.
Order or
Last Wish.
Last Wish is the one you started
yes.
with.
I read the Last Wish. Pretty good. Although I had trouble because I didn't realize until about halfway through it this was like a collection of
short stories.
Instead of being. I was like, what do these chapters have to do with each other at all? What is going on? And then I was
Dude,
like,
the very end of that book, the chapters are so short.
yeah,
They're just like bam, 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 bam.
good book though. I'm looking forward to reading the next one.
Yeah. So those are pretty good. There was one more. I can't. I read a book called The Coddling of the American Mind, and I think some people Coddling of the American Mind, something like that.
Sounds like a book title.
Some people won't like that one, but I thought it was fairly interesting.
Oh, yeah. The Way of Kings.
The Way of Kings.
It's a Brandon Sanderson. It's a fantasy series about, I don't know, swords.
I like swords.
Do ya though, Nick?
Fuck you. I'm
Like really cool swords.
I'm playing a game where I get to swing
Actually,
a sword, bitch.
one of the first chapters involves an assassin who's like going to kill a king, and his whole thing is that like he has like the gravity powers from like that one game
Gravity
that
Rush.
you really like. Yeah.
Oh shit.
So like he can he'll like grab onto the wall at the other end of a corridor and just like fly past these guards and like murder them like while
That's
they're falling.
dope.
It's really cool.
I'm in the market for a good book, to get me hyped for Cyberpunk 2077. If anybody has any good ideas,
Send them Brad's way.
please send them my way.
Have you ever read Neuromancer?
Yes, Neuromancer, and yes, I read Snow Crash. I want something beyond the
Brad,
the obvious choices.
We're not arrowing these off.
What?
Remember, we're oozing these off.
Oh yeah,
Who's
yeah.
the arrow?
This is more like
Next question from Haste. What is your favorite video game boss theme song? I have a horrible
I don't know.
memory.
For some reason now I can only think of the Sans theme from
Megalovania.
Boo.
Yeah.
Boo.
I know. I'm probably like.
Boo
This is probably one of those
man.
It keeps
situations.
popping up.
This is probably one of the situations where I'm like,
Genova is a really
Genova's
good
a
one.
really good theme.
Yeah.
I'm probably one of the. This is one of those like outlier situations where like when it comes to like video game music, my least favorite music to listen to in any game soundtrack is the combat music, especially boss fight music.
I don't like
From what?
I mean, in just general, like any in video game soundtracks, boss music or combat music, my least favorite tracks to listen to.
that is terrible.
I know. I like whimsical stuff.
That's crazy. Although I hate
Hate? We're not talking about hate. We're talking about love. From Hollow Knight, Dung Defender.
Ooh, that's a really good one.
That's a great fucking song. I think that was my song of the year that
There's
year.
probably like several really good
Oh,
tracks.
dude, there's amazing tracks in Hollow Knight, but Dung Defender is so fucking
Nick,
good.
you don't like Hollow Knight.
Is it though?
Is it high fantasy though?
Wait, what? Really, Brad? Really?
I don't
Brad?
specifically remember the Mantis Lord's theme, but I feel like
Yeah,
that was a good one
fine.
too.
It was
Wanna
pretty
plant
good.
your flag on that hill.
I like the boss theme Final Fantasy 6.
Ooh, the
Is
boss.
there a single boss theme in that game?
There's the main boss theme, yeah.
Oh, okay.
What about does the song they play at the end of Metal Gear Solid 4 when you're on top of the?
Well, that's like every theme.
They're
song.
there's a compilation of
So
all
is
the
that
Metal
cheating?
Gear themes.
Kinda. When they get to Metal Gear Solid 3 and it's Snake Eater. That's super smart.
Yeah.
Someone should say One Winged Angel, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious, like go-to choice. But
It
like,
is a
that
good
song,
song.
fucking.
I like the main boss theme
Slaps.
in Final Fantasy 7.
Oh, I don't like
Okay.
video games.
Those who fight
All right.
further.
And next question from Thorax. Lucas prequels versus Disney sequels. Would you like to see a bonus episode exploring this? He would like to see a bonus episode exploring this topic in detail. Lucas prequels or Disney
I would record that. I
sequels?
would record that podcast in a second.
I mean, in all honesty, I personally go Disney sequels.
Ugh.
Personal
I would
opinion.
go Disney sequels all
depends.
the way. But like, I feel like there's a lot more to unpack there than
I feel like these days the sequels are a little bit better than they were back
the
then.
prequels.
Wait, what are we talking about here?
Star Wars prequels,
What are we doing?
Lucas prequels versus the Disney sequels.
Episodes 7, 8, and
Oh,
9 are
just
episodes
Star Wars?
1, 2, or 3.
I thought we were talking about like
like Toy Story
Return
4?
of Jafar.
Oh, what? Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Well, no to that one.
No, George Lucas prequels versus the Star Wars sequel or the
Disney.
Disney sequels.
No, the prequels are obviously worse. What are you talking about?
Well, then there's your answer, Brad. It's you choose one. You chose sequels.
I think there's a lot of.
Who disagrees with that though?
There's a lot of blowback.
Besides, like children.
I mean, here's the
well,
thing.
also Rise of Skywalker was
so hold on.
Still
I'm not-
better than all the prequel movies, though.
I find the prequel films to be
I can't
largely.
believe I'm saying this, but I
No,
don't know
you're-
that I agree.
Yeah,
I find the
Shut
prequel movies
Dude,
to be largely
the
unwatchable.
prequels are bad movies, but like
yeah.
they're going somewhere.
No.
Rise of Skywalker is going absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, but
I mean,
look,
yes
dude,
and no.
At least it still has Kylo Ren in it, who's
That is true. Any
cooler than anybody.
movie
in,
with Kylo Ren in it is automatically better than the
We're not
prequels.
talking about Kylo Ren yet.
Why not?
I'm still mourning.
Okay.
Any movie with Kylo Ren in it is better than the Lucas
Yeah,
prequels.
that's true.
I will say that there is
Rey.
the reason I would want to have a conversation, like an actual, like record an actual
Skywalker.
podcast about this discussion, is because I think there's a lot of interesting meat on the bones of the prequel movies that it was executed terribly.
Yeah,
Like
it's all bad. It's real bad.
I mean,
I find the
think-
movies themselves to be largely unwatchable.
I think they could have
But-
been made into better movies
Cool
had
ideas.
someone else been at the helm.
Cool ideas.
It's crazy though. Like when I was watching them, like these are bad. But then I always thought there were like elements of them that I liked. You know, like, oh well, at least like Qui-Gon is cool. And then you go back, you're like, no, even the stuff out of these that I thought wasn't complete shit is also complete shit. It's all so bad.
You know what I will say?
There's no redeeming quality. What? Next question. Jesus Christ. I mean, Force Awakens and The Last Jedi are like wonderful movies, and you know, so this last one wasn't that great. But what are we even debating here?
Well, I think you're undercutting how bad Rise of Skywalker
Shut the fuck up.
The Rise of Skywalker
We're talking
was-
about fucking prequels.
was prequel levels of bad.
You're wrong.
Well,
I'm
okay,
not.
so hold on.
It was terrible.
So hold on. So then 2/3 of the sequels are better than the prequels.
That's true.
okay. Well,
No,
then there you go.
That's true.
there's
But
the
like,
answer.
like,
He's not right. Look, hey, did Rise of Skywalker look like dog shit?
yes,
No, not
It
compared to the fucking
absolutely
prequels.
did.
Okay, first of all, I don't know where you're getting that. That movie had some gorgeous shots in it.
Yeah, the prequels had embarrassing CGI. It was awful. It was
Oh, I
fucking
mean, that was
awful.
I
kind of
didn't
all-
say it looked I didn't say it looked worse than the prequels. I said
This
it
question,
looked bad.
this
Kinda
question
did.
was a trap.
Yeah, of course it was.
It was dumb. You just want to. You
that was
just hate
also-
that movie, and your butt hurt. But you're
That was also
Come
a
on.
product of the time, Brad.
come on.
I
Fucking
find
Palpatine. All of the Exegol
Hey,
shit.
did you see Palpatine in the
good.
prequels?
The fucking,
Remember after Mace
the fucking
Windu zapped
giant-
him? What the fuck was
the giant
that?
Sith fleet, like that all looked good.
Oh my god.
We are comparing. We are
The
comparing.
CG was
Only
pretty good.
comparing.
You didn't say it looks worse than. You said it looks bad, and it does look bad. It looks about on that level bad.
I will say
A
this.
step above.
You know what? You know what?
Meanwhile, Thorx is at home like, it's working! It's working!
You know what I will say this. I think the Rise of Skywalker is this trilogy's Phantom Menace because the Phantom Menace is the only movie in that trilogy, that prequel
not bad.
trilogy, I would find. I consider I can watch.
I don't know. I can sit down and watch the prequels. They're bad movies, but I can watch them, and
I can.
it's funny. There's no joy in Rise of Skywalker. It's not even like funny to watch it be bad. It's just sad
Dude,
and
I
depressing.
think you're forgetting how bad of an actor.
Dude, I saw
Hayden
those movies
Christensen.
recently.
I watched them recently too.
Yeah,
like in the last
they're bad,
3 months.
but it's still like fun bad. Like it's meme bad.
Oh my god.
The Rise of Skywalker is just like a joyless, fucking soul sucking experience.
Wow.
Crispy didn't like the movie.
I didn't like.
I liked it enough, I guess. This is a trap. We need to move away from
It's
this.
a trap.
We need to move away from this. Not only are we
agree.
not only are we like
I think we can only
starting
do...
to fight amongst ourselves, we're starting to alienate certain people in the community because they're like, I loved it, I hated it. This is a bad
I
idea.
mean, people are allowed to have their opinions.
The only thing I
so-
can agree with is that maybe the prequels are so bad that they're good, so it wraps around
Sure.
to becoming
They're
more
bad-
watchable.
They're bad movies. They're bad Star Wars movies. But like Rise of
Worse.
Skywalker is fucking. It feels like fan fiction.
All right,
which is the worst.
Oh my god.
we're done
Hayden-
with this conversation.
Hayden Christensen
It
is like
was
one of the
pretty
worst
good.
actors I've ever seen.
Sure.
Sure.
Let's do one more question, I think, for this week, and then we'll call it quits.
The Leia stuff, guys, come on.
Stop it.
Do you remember how bad that looked? How bad it played? How little sense it made? They're
All
literally
right.
just like talking around her, and she's just saying, "Well, I don't know about that. Well, the general's right. I think we should do that." Like, I can't. I don't understand anything about that movie. I'm sorry.
The wheels are coming off this podcast.
I think we've had this conversation multiple times.
You know what? I'd second
We're
thought.
all away.
I don't want to record this podcast.
Yeah, I know where it's gonna go, and it's
It's a different award. It's most disappointing versus worst. It's a different award. We've handed the movies different awards. Let's move on.
Sure. Just...
all right. Villasaurus,
Last question.
what are your stats in real life? Use any system you want.
Oh God.
Stats.
I don't. I spend the least amount of time possible
Not
in stat
good.
screens.
Not good. Or no.
Just in general, not good.
The one I'm choosing is Resident Evil, and it says caution, and it's the orange line.
Is that a stat? I mean, I guess
Yeah.
current
Sure.
current stats. Yeah.
That's close to a stat as you can get in that game.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Eat a green herb.
You need to eat a vegetable. Is that
Yeah.
Somebody get this man a vegetable.
Interesting.
I was actually thinking about how funny it would be if I got a D&D sheet and made one for me.
Just
to
made
go
one
on
real
the
quick.
computer at
I want to
work.
see.
'Cause I was trying to think like, oh, what would my strength be? Probably like an 8. I probably have like a -1 or -2 to strength. I probably have like a -1 in constitution. I think I'm okay on intelligence.
No, look at
I
this
don't know.
This guy over
This
here.
guy.
I think I'm okay on charisma. Wisdom, I don't know. Dexterity,
well, here's
definitely
the
like
thing.
a -2.
Some people are taking this question very differently. It's either what are your stats, like we think about pre-existing stats and like what would ours be. Some people are saying make up stats for you.
I think
Like, so-
they're saying pick a stat system and like do whatever.
Which
you want.
Do I need to reread the question?
Yeah.
I lost it.
just
Disappeared.
interpret the question.
Like Lao Kong Pao says, Nolan's clutch level in games versus 4PP is totally 100.
Bam.
See, that's a made up stat,
It's like
but
94.
It says sure 95. It says use any system you
93.
want.
oh, okay, cool.
So I mean, yeah, I guess you could choose any game system or make up a system, whichever one.
But I'm just so unfamiliar. Like, I hate stats. I love and hate stats.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like spending time in stat screens, so I'm like the worst person to ask this question.
I think it depends.
I
mean,
defer to Brad.
I mean, could you go?
Okay, he's fucking Doom Hut then, where you just look at the dude's face.
Could you,
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, could you go with something from like Disco Elysium?
yeah, that would be a good. I'll take that.
Which one?
Like which stat?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like it's 20 something.
Half
Oh
Life.
man.
What's your inland empire? 0.
Probably pretty low.
I'm going with
My
electrochemistry.
visual calculus, though, like 1.
I don't. Knowing our personalities, I don't think any of us are great at visual
No,
calculus.
probably not. I'm not Batman or anything. I can't like reverse engineer crime scenes necessarily. But I don't know what stat I would pick, but Disco Elysium's a good answer. I'll steal that answer
Volition.
Volition.
as
Okay.
the stat.
Okay.
What does Volition cover again?
Volition-y things.
That's helpful.
Oh man.
Composure. No, you're not composure.
Well, you're not composure.
Yeah, speak for your come on, speak for yourself.
Electrochemistry.
Not me either.
All right, next question. Fire
That was the
Emblem.
last
All,
question.
Fire Emblem all random.
I'm trying to think of kind of.
Yeah, I got stat fucked in Fire Emblem.
I mean, like in real life.
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm saying.
rolled the worst dice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of something that like similar to like what you were saying with Resident Evil, like that caution line, like kind of that like that irrational fear kind of state, like oh my god, like that constant state of I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Maybe like
I'm trying to think of a good example. What about like I'm constantly in jelly vision.
There you go.
Maybe I just need glasses.
The sanity meter in
There you go. Yeah.
in what's it called?
What's that GameCube
Eternal
game?
Darkness.
Eternal Darkness. All right, I don't know. Well, that's all the questions, right, Nick? We're gonna save the rest for later.
I'm gonna do a supporter spotlight here as soon as I find.
You find her shit.
Yeah.
So thank you to all of there was a couple of patrons in there, a couple of Twitch supporters. Every week we're gonna, like Nick's saying, we're gonna get back to this. We're gonna randomly pick and choose some. Right now we kind of had a backup, so we went through some of our backups. But we're gonna post the thread every week, ask the questions in there, or we have the supporter channel in Discord. You can ask questions in there as well. Randomly pick and choose a few every week.
So if you don't hear your question come up the week you asked it, we'll get to
Yes, I think some of these questions were from like November, so you might not hear it right away. But we're gonna get to it eventually.
Correct. And of course, I'm also going to get back into the supporter spotlight, which we've had kind of a crazy month, so I haven't had a chance to do it lately. So here we are. Why can't I find her damn?
You can search for it.
But it's like it's supposed to be.
Just
like,
do a search, Nick. That's literally what it was designed for. Is the ability to search and find things. I guarantee you, if you search for "by the goddess," all one word, you will
where
find
am I
an email.
searching?
What are you looking for?
I'm
right
looking
now?
through the form.
What form?
The form where people submit their responses. This is the dumb thing.
Oh, I didn't know that's what I thought you were looking at an email.
Ah, there it is. Jesus Christ. I finally found
Told
it.
you you'd find it.
It was the very bottom one. God damn it. Anyways, let me remind people, because it's been a few weeks since we've done this. If you're a supporter at the, I want to say $3 tier or higher, or a subscriber on Twitch.
Correct.
We invite you to fill out this form. You go to discord.gg/4player, go to the supporter spotlight channel in Discord. You should have access to it if you've linked your account. And pinned in that channel is a link to a Google form where we have questions that you can answer regarding your personal tastes in games. And you have an opportunity to kind of tell the community more about yourself and your tastes and your stories and things like that. And every week I'm going to pick one at random, read some of your responses, and yeah, it's just a good opportunity to kind of introduce yourself to the community. So if you are a new subscriber or a supporter on Patreon and you have not done this yet, discord.gg/4player in the supporter spotlight channel, and just find the pinned link there. So our supporter spotlight this week is By the Goddess, who is in chat tonight, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Shannon. She is from Colorado Springs, Colorado. I'm going to...
I've been there. It's really nice. Big mountain.
Just that one big mountain.
Big mountain. Can you confirm By the
like
Goddess?
One big mountain and like NORAD's there.
NORAD.
Yeah, and
Yeah, that's her nickname, NORAD.
Big mountain.
Big mountain. All right. I'm going to start by reading her top 5 games of all time.
Yeah, Cheyenne. That's the one.
Are you ready, Brad?
I'm ready.
Do it.
I'm ready.
All right. Number 5, Kingdom Hearts.
The first
Boo!
She's like,
I like that first Kingdom
The first
Hearts.
one's good.
Yeah, I
she
like
says
that
Kingdom Hearts, like 1, singular. Not that I would be judging if you just...
Remember
I mean, we are
jelly
kind of judging.
ships?
The whole point of this is to judge, but
Gummy ships?
it's all in good fun. Kingdom Hearts, she says, I can already hear Brad's sighs, but there's something quite charming
I
about...
like one.
There's something quite charming about the first game despite all of its jank. I was blown away by the fusion of both Disney and Final Fantasy, despite its increasingly convoluted storyline. I was a member of a Kingdom Hearts forum, embarrassing I know, where I've made friends that I still talk to, all because of our love and dedication to the series. That's a very valid reason. I mean, I think that game is still full of
Dude,
charm.
honestly, if to hop in our time machine, boop, 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 go back to 2001.
Your gummy ship?
Yeah, gummy ship time machine. Kingdom Hearts was a good fucking game in 2001.
I would even... this might be dissension in the ranks, I don't know, but I would even say Kingdom Hearts 2 is still not as great. Not as great.
Yeah.
Not as charming, but still...
I just played it because
Not
I
bad.
like the Tron level.
Up its own ass.
Up its own ass.
Bad level design.
Yeah.
But you
And
know.
I swear to God, I'm still gonna play Kingdom Hearts 3 one day.
Don't do it, Nick.
It's
Don't
too,
do it.
Don't do it, Nick.
Don't do it.
just
Don't do
know,
it.
just
Nick.
know this, guys. Just
No, don't.
understand.
Nick, I played Kingdom Hearts and I loved it. And I played Kingdom Hearts 2 and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then you know what? I didn't play any of the other ones, but I looked up some
Just
reviews
look
of the
at- just look at
stories.
me
And then
and
I played Kingdom Hearts 3 and it was the worst game I played that year.
Just look at me
It's like
and understand. There is nothing you can say to
the
stop me.
worst game I played that
You
year.
know what? I think I'll probably love it.
Do it. Do it. You
I
weak
played
man.
the first like 5 hours of that game in the Hercules level.
You
and I
did?
thought it was, yeah.
That's not 5 hours. Sure.
Yeah, it's like
It's
I think
30 minutes.
so
It just
bad.
felt like 5 hours.
It's
I
so
walked right
bad.
into that one. Number 4, Fire Emblem.
3 houses.
By the
maybe?
way,
I don't
for those
think it's
listening at
Three
home,
Houses.
when I read a name and I give the pause, I'm trying to see if the other people on the couch can guess.
What was the one on the DS?
The DS. There's only one on the DS.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. What was the subtitle of the one on the DS?
Wait, the original DS.
No, the 3DS.
Fire,
Awakening.
Awakening.
Yeah, it's probably. I say either Awakening or 7, the first one on GBA.
Actually, the answer is Fire Emblem on the GBA.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's Fire Emblem 7.
Oh. This was my first real introduction to a strategy turn-based game. Despite the punishing difficulty, I was enchanted by the cast of characters and the beautiful art that would show during cutscenes.
Yeah,
Every so often, I'll find myself busting out my old Game Boy XP to play through Lynn, Elliewood, and Hector's storylines.
Yeah, Hector for Smash.
Dude, do you know what fucking happened? Speaking of GBAs,
Nope.
At work last week, I was overhearing 2 coworkers talking about making a deal because one of them knew of another one who was trying to sell a Game Boy Advance micro faceplate, and he was gonna buy it.
Wow.
Wow.
And I was like, "Those still exist? Like they weren't all destroyed?"
Wow.
A Game Boy Advance micro
I bet
faceplate.
David has a million.
Oh, of
them.
course, David.
he's got
does.
he's got a room for him probably.
He's got one for each genre of games.
Number 3, Final Fantasy.
7?
Tactics.
I don't think she's gonna say
Wrong.
tactics. I think she's gonna say 8.
10.
No, she's
Wrong,
gonna say
wrong.
9.
Wrong. Fuck. You're all wrong.
12.
Yes.
I got it
There it is.
eventually. That was my second guess.
I was starting to get nervous. We're running out of good ones.
Vaughn was an annoying protagonist, but
was.
so was Titus. And yet people always talk about 10. This is fucking great.
But what about the leading man?
Oh, shit, don't tell me. Does it start with a G?
No.
God! Fuck, what's his name?
Balther?
Balthier!
Balthier. Yeah, that's how you
Shit.
pronounce it. I'm the
Damn.
leading man.
That's a good fucking game.
That's a good game.
But, she says,
Evilise.
she said, but so is Titus, and yet people always talk about 10 and forget about 12 for that one reason. The Gambit system was challenging and rewarding at the same time, and the cast of characters was diverse and unique.
Dude, Fran was
Legit? You into bunny people?
no.
This game doesn't get nearly the love it deserves and is often forgotten due to the release of Final Fantasy XIII shortly afterwards.
What?
Was it shortly after?
I mean, it wasn't too long afterwards, but I think it's also a situation where they had 12, which was a really good game, and then they released 13, and 13 was not great.
And then they did 13.2 and 13.3. And
They couldn't have been. When did 13 come out?
I don't know.
I don't think they were that close together. were they?
13 was my first E3 was the announcement of Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah, they weren't
Because
that close.
12, I would have been like
12 was 06, I think.
yeah, that was like right when because I remember I was
Maybe I'm
selling
misreading
mattresses when 12.
But she
came
said
out.
12 is largely is often forgotten, and that's true.
Yeah, no, that is true.
Zodiac Gigamir in chat says Zodiac Age is really great. That's true. That is very
You
true.
want to hear something really crazy?
What's that?
Really crazy?
What's that?
No.
Final Fantasy 7 came out in 1997. Final Fantasy 8 came out in 1999. Final Fantasy 9 came out in 2000. And Final Fantasy 10 on a new system came out in 2001.
Yeah.
And look what Square Enix has become.
Yep.
It's embarrassing.
That is true.
You're just saying within the span of 4 years.
Like people's favorite fucking games ever, and they're putting out one a year, including one on a new system.
Yeah.
And like these embarrassing assholes are doing like Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3 and spending half a decade in between. Like Jesus fucking Christ.
You do have you can't. It's not a
Oh,
one.
by the way, they were also putting out Xenogears and Vagrant Story and Parasite Eve 1 and 2. It's like insane.
it is
Final
it is.
Fantasy Tactics.
I
What the fuck happened?
I do totally agree with you, but I will also say you can't compare it. It's not apples to apples in the development time, because
It's
developing those games for the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 even is nothing compared to developing on the newer hardware.
It is what they make it. You know?
Sure.
what?
No, I mean,
don't know what
I'm
that
saying
means.
it doesn't have to take that fucking long.
Sure.
I mean, have you seen how long
not
a
saying-
Yakuza game
dude,
is? Have you seen how much story
I am-
and writing and voice acting are in those games? And they put out one a year.
I'm not saying they didn't. I think they managed it poorly, and they didn't make the
That's
greatest
exactly.
decisions. All right.
I agree.
Number
They're
two,
managing it
we're
poorly.
going to get through this top 5 eventually. Number 2, The Witcher 3. I wasn't even going to let you guess because just
The
Yeah,
Wild
it-
Hunt.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you. I can't even begin to count all the hours I spent completely immersed in this world. This game came to me at a time when where I was my most vulnerable and alone, so I welcomed the intricate story and characters with open arms. I'm pretty sure I still have all of my notebooks filled with swords and the like, so that I could better manage my inventory in game.
Yeah.
It's one of those games where you bust
Swords
it out.
are cool, Nick.
Yes, I know. Plus, the Blood and Wine DLC was some of the most fun I've had in the game in recent memory. I still haven't played Blood and
It's
Wine.
good.
I installed it though, like a few weeks ago, when I was like in the midst of like The Witcher on Netflix.
You were getting
and I
the
was
hype.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
But now it's being replaced with
What are you
Divinity
gonna play?
hype.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna play first?
Don't ask me that.
Kingdom Hearts 3 or
I swear to fucking God.
I won't do that.
I would enjoy.
And our
it.
number one game.
Next time I'm at Nick's house, I'm gonna sneak into his room and I'm gonna
Snap the
take.
disc.
No, I'm not gonna snap the disc in half. I'm just gonna take it and replace it with a little paper disc that says "fuck you."
Dude, that's like last time I was at Nick's house. I snuck into his bathroom and licked his toothbrush.
With his taint.
Dude, that explains a lot. But number one game of all time from by the goddess, The Last of Us.
Part 1.
Nope.
We're
Left
harmonizing
Behind.
there.
Last of Us Left Behind.
I specifically bought a PS3 just for the sole purpose of playing this game when it was released. The Last of Us presented a polished, well-written story of two individuals amidst the fallout of the zombie apocalypse in a way that TV shows like The Walking Dead had failed to capture for seasons. Might I recommend Days Gone? Sorry. The multiplayer mode was also the most fun I've had with friends late at night as we tried to outsmart our opposing team. I'm sure Nolan can agree
Never
with you there.
played with me, Shannon. What the fuck?
Yeah, get in there. Well, when was the last
Well,
time?
not anymore. It's been a while since we played Factions.
I guess that's true. Great writing, tight gameplay, and impressive acting has allowed this game to stay with me even long after the credits have rolled. Plus, I have 2 Last of Us tattoos, so it goes without saying that I love this game a lot. That's pretty great because we also love that game.
Yeah, no.
And I'm sure she's very excited
That's
for...
a good choice.
I'm sure she's very excited for the end of May.
We like to party.
All right, since I usually read at least 2 responses, I'm gonna do another. That was kind of a long one, but I'm gonna read this one real quick. One of the questions is, what is a game that you consider to be underrated that you wish more people would play, and why? And this ties into her top 5. Again, I'm gonna have to go with Final Fantasy 12. I feel like this is a game that most people forgot about or quit on after struggling with the Gambit system. It's a departure from the traditional turn-based mechanics from previous entries. Especially after watching gameplay from the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I think that people should revisit 12 and immerse themselves in that world and the story it has to tell.
I would agree with that. I think a lot of people maybe either just don't remember it very well. I think a lot of people maybe remember it almost like people remember Uncharted 3.
Yeah.
Uncharted 3 is a great fucking game, but a lot of people are like, well, it wasn't as good as 2. That doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
It's still a great game. And 12 was a great fucking game. It had good music. It was an interesting world. Yes, Vaughn was
Had a
not
really distinct art style too.
Oh, yeah.
Like that I think is underrated.
Vaughn might have not have been the best character.
I think he was inoffensive at worst.
Sure.
He's just kind of
but
there.
This was the first game where combat was, I don't want to say real time, but you actually ran up to enemies in the world and got into combat with them. The Gambit system was a little weird at first.
But also
and
really addicting.
the problem with it is you had to unlock those abilities.
Yeah.
And so you couldn't just at first just do everything. You were very limited, and I guess people might have been frustrated because it didn't seem like they had much control. But, 10, 15, 20 hours in that game, all of a sudden you're chaining together these very advanced Gambit moves, and it was a lot of fun.
I completely agree. In fact, I picked that up on. I picked up the Zodiac Age at some point. I really would like to play that as well.
You know what I think is underrated?
What's that, Brad?
Uh,
The 4-player minute.
like a poor score. Castlevania Harmony of Despair.
Yeah.
That's a really really good game that I think is like super misunderstood. When you play it right with the right people.
Well, can you even do that
so
anymore?
good. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the DLC's still really expensive. But,
Oh, really?
But they released a lot of really cool DLC for that game.
All right. Well, Shannon, by the goddess, thank you very much for being our supporter spotlight this week. We really appreciate it.
I forgot that wasn't a viewer question.
It was not. We may get around to reading more of your responses. Like I said, I'm getting to the point where I'm running out of people that I haven't read from yet. So if you are a supporter on Patreon or Twitch and you haven't filled out the form, please do so. Like I said, discord.gg/4player. Go jump into that supporter spotlight channel and find the pinned message there. That'll have the link you need to fill out the form, and I will pick random ones every week and read your responses. But yeah, anyways, let's wrap up the show, guys. 4-player minute. You know how this works. Hype, sweat, thank you, and fuck you. Brad,
Yeah.
take it away.
My hype goes for 4-player flashback month. How are we doing on patrons?
We still need like 20 more patrons.
Jesus Christ.
It's weird because like
I love flashback and so much.
at the end of every month when they do the charges and everything, certain people drop off.
No.
So it goes down, then you come back up and go back down.
Just $1 patrons.
$1 a month, and we'll get there.
Like 1998 month, one of those. That shit was so cool.
We need to hit 175 patrons, and we're gonna do a themed month on Twitch where we do nothing but we'll pick a year and we'll just play games for that year, only from that year for the entire month on the stream. So
I like it because it shakes things up and it gives us a focus, and it can really get hard to when you look at your backlog or you look at new games like, oh, do I want to try this new game? Should I play a little more of this? And you're like, I'm just gonna fucking watch TV. This gives us like a cool focus, and I love this shit.
We do. So we still need about
$1 subs.
$1. So, and to answer your question in chat, no, Twitch subs don't count towards that goal because we're tracking it all via Patreon. But we do appreciate Twitch subscriptions as well.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, Brad. 4-player minute. Go.
Oh yeah, that's what,
that is why I called on you.
No, that was part of it. That was my
use hype.
That was my hype.
Oh, cool.
I'm excited about 4-player flashback. I just want it to happen. My sweat is for the future of Valkyria Chronicles. I've been talking to David about Valkyria Chronicles 4. He's been playing it. He's not happy about that game. But it got me thinking about how much I love that series and how kind of much people didn't really show up for that fourth game. And I'm wondering if we're ever going to see another one because I really, really do enjoy it. And it kind of makes me sad. Hopefully. My thank you for this week goes to Pootie Pie.
Oh, God.
Pootie Pie, I
dear.
don't watch his
dear.
videos, but someone told me that he did a video for Dreams, and now people care about Dreams
Jesus
now
Christ.
because I guess that's the power of that moron.
At least people care about Dreams.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like Dreams.
But at what cost?
I feel like Dreams. Yeah, they're all white supremacists.
But
now.
at what cost? Yeah, there's gonna be a bunch of like memes and white supremacy games.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No.
Trolling.
But it is cool because no one I feel like was really paying attention to this game, and thank you, idiot.
Jesus Christ.
And my fuck you for this week goes to me and the company that made those Castlevania figures for this Netflix series. GameStop sells them because they're not good figures. But at the same time, when am I ever going to have a Sypha figure? A Sypha action figure? Come on. One exists now. The problem is they're bad figures.
Really?
They're only $20, but they seem not worth $20.
I saw the picture. Are you talking about the picture that Sci-Fi tweeted at you?
Yeah.
Did not look good.
Yeah, there was like a fucking hole in his chest. Like they're really poorly made, poorly painted figures. But for example, Trevor Belmont comes with like a whip, right?
Sure.
As he would. He's a Belmont.
Of course.
And you look at the package and he comes with all these different hands. Like you might see in like a nice like Figma or whatever, right? You see that kind of shit. But none of those hands can actually hold the whip.
What the fuck?
It's so poorly made. They're just fucking assholes made these figures. But fuck those people and fuck me for wanting them because they're Castlevania figures and you can't fucking buy them anywhere because it's Castlevania and god damn it. Fuck. That's it.
All right. Nolan,
What up?
your turn.
Is it? All right. My hype is for all of the gaming downtime we've had lately with not any new releases.
Yeah, it feels weird.
I'm enjoying it because I'm feeling less pressured.
You did your homework, motherfucker.
I remember you giving me homework. but
Bumbo.
Oh yeah, Bumbo. Dude, you gotta fucking email me that shit or something, because
text you.
dude, don't text me, because I'll read the text message and then it'll be marked as read and I won't ever see it again.
I do that.
Do you own it?
Every day?
Do you own it?
Dude, I tell Bernadette, I tell her, do not text me things, email me them, because I can mark an email as unread and then I'll constantly be reminded about it. And she hates me for it, and I understand, but I will 100% forget.
All right, at least you're honest.
Yeah, no, I apologize profusely for my horrible memory, but that's how it is, and I tell her, like, I'm sorry.
What's Bernadette's email address?
Let me just read it out loud to you real quick. All right, my sweat goes to my PC. I'm kind of debating on upgrading it. It's getting a little bit older now.
No, when?
What, Brad?
When did you build that?
2015?
Are you talking about upgrading the existing one or building a whole new one?
Oh my god, 5 years?
Oh, you upgraded the graphics card at one point, right?
No, I haven't upgraded the graphics card since I got it.
A
graphics
second
card do you have in
leap
there?
year has
1080.
passed.
You have a 1080 in there?
Yeah.
That PC's not that old.
When did the 1080 come out?
Wait, you're gonna upgrade above a 1080?
I don't know.
You built that when the 1080 came out.
I have
Like
a 10,
literally the day it came out.
I think I have a 1070.
It's not that old.
I have a 1070. I'll take your 1080 if you're done with it.
What?
And that's why it's a sweat, Brad. Just because I've been, like, because I said I was playing Red Dead 2, right? Because it came out on PC. And I was like, well, I have this nice 4K TV. Let me hook it up to my TV. My PC kind of struggles running the game at 4K. Like, it's like...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I knocked mine down to... I'm running at 1080p, but with HDR and everything.
Well, that's different.
Yeah.
I can run it because that monitor is a 2K monitor, and it runs great on that at 140, 120, 130 frames a second is what I'm getting. But as soon as I try to put it on my 4K TV,
yeah. That's why...
it's
Yeah.
chugging.
Yeah.
But
it's still an amazing looking game at 1080p.
Sure, no, definitely.
If anyone's gonna buy like a new TV, let me know, because I still have a really old TV, but I'm not in the market for like a brand new TV.
I don't plan on
so I
all my
might buy
TVs are
like
good.
an older.
But here's
TV.
the thing, Nolan, if you decide to get a new graphics card, I know you said at the beginning of the show, you do your due diligence, you do all the research, you find all the good deals. I might piggyback off you. Just tell me what you get, and I might just do the same thing,
Brad,
because
I'll
I've been
give
thinking
you-
about it too.
I'll give you $100
Yeah.
if you let me spit in your mouth.
Okay. The thing is, I'm really scared to buy like a really nice brand new TV because of Henry.
Uh-huh.
What the shit?
It's horrifying.
Why don't you just wall mount it?
That's not gonna stop Henry.
Is this the sign that Crispy's getting like really tired? He's just like,
He throws things,
Oh.
and he doesn't like.
Why don't you just like get one of those things that they have at bars
he
where the
throws them behind himself.
TV's enclosed in like a case?
He doesn't like throw it forward.
this is the longest 4
He
player
picks
minute
something
ever.
up and he
This is
throws
crazy.
it behind him. Yeah.
This is crazy.
All right, my sweat.
Really bad.
I keep getting these ads on Twitter for premium Bandai. I guess like it's like some Bandai Namco shop or something, and it's for this My Hero Academia figurine.
Oh yeah, I've
And
seen that.
I know, and I keep looking at it, and I'm like,
Yeah, just get it.
But then I got one point where I actually navigated to the site, and I was like, I added it to the cart, but then I killed it, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it.
And they found you.
Dude, and now I've been getting even more ads.
Joseph said, I thought Nolan was going to suggest putting the kid in the case.
Well, yeah, dude, Brett, I have a very large dog kennel downstairs.
Don't they
If
have,
you want to
like,
borrow that for
Like
Henry,
a box you can put your kid in.
what's up, bud? Fist bump. Fist bump.
I was thinking
Butters,
about
fist
like
bump.
Where's
some sort of
Do it.
He wants to do it.
Do it,
some sort of
motherfucker. Fist bump.
plexiglass to put in front of it, but then
Do it. Bam. All right. And then my fuck you is another actually My Hero Academia related. Last night, Bernard and I went and saw My Hero Academia Heroes Rising. It's the new movie. It was actually in theaters.
It sucked.
And we went and saw... No, the movie was pretty good. The ending could have been a little bit better, in my opinion. But the fuck you goes to the lady who was sitting not right next to me, but one more over. Every fucking scene had a comment. Like, but not like just like fucking like, oh, I love her, she's so cool. Oh, I hate that guy, he's horrible.
Where
Like,
did you go to see this?
Cinemark.
Oh,
I don't think they're showing it at Draft House.
yeah.
But every fucking scene.
You went
she
to
has,
a regular
theater. Shannon, no, you don't have to have seen the new season.
I mean, people can't get away with that at the Draft House. It's always going.
Yeah, correct. No, the Draft House. That I would have fucking immediately.
Tell me more about this Draft House.
Shut up, Brad. But
I know
like,
what you're trying to do, Brad.
Like super fucking obnoxious, and so I didn't want to say anything at first. I was like, maybe she's like, I don't know. Like I didn't want to like just be rude, so I just kind of let it go. Like 45 minutes in, still every fucking scene making a comment. And I understand, Tack. Anime fans can be obnoxious. No one else in the fucking theater was commenting on everything.
They were keeping that shit in their
After
heads.
like 40 minutes, there was one scene where it's kind of quiet and one of the characters said something and she's like, you would say that. And I just leaned over and I was like, excuse me, can you please keep your voice down? Like it's kind of distracting to the movie. And she like had this like look on her face like I just like yelled at her. And she was like, and then she still commented like a little bit for the rest of the movie, but thankfully she dropped it down by like 20 decibels.
How old was she?
Mid-20s.
Oh, it's like, oh, she's like 6.
No, yeah, that's the thing. If it was a kid, I would have been less likely to do it, but she was clearly a fucking adult who should have known. Like,
Did you at least start with the half turn?
Oh, so many times.
And then the full turn?
Dude, Bernadette did this thing where she leaned around me and did this. And she, like for a good like 5 seconds, but I don't think she noticed. Yeah. But I don't know. Anyway, it was good. It was a good movie though.
All right, Crispy, you're up.
Okay, I have no idea what I'm gonna say. Let's see what comes out.
You had all this
My
time.
height.
Yeah, you could have been
is
thinking about it.
for Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, you like that?
surprise.
You like that, Crispy?
He's broken.
Does that do it for you?
Crispy's broken.
It doesn't.
My favorite part of this podcast is when you started talking about Baldur's Gate. He's like, I'm excited about Baldur's Gate. Yes, because of the D&D stuff, but also... And then you said D&D stuff.
You went and listed a bunch of D&D stuff.
Like you were making it sound like it's just like the coat of paint, like the flavoring. But I'm talking about like under the hood.
Sure.
That's an important distinction to
What
make.
flavor
Sure.
is the paint?
Continue
Okay.
your...
My second hype is for the inevitable Dungeon Master mode.
They're definitely going to have one.
That's gonna be a thing, and I can't fucking wait. Fuck you. Ah.
So that is
My-
confirmed to be a thing?
I don't know,
Oh.
but it has to be, right?
Yeah, you would think so.
Because like Wizards of the Coast did this whole big feature about
I'm
like
sure
going
they
to
will.
Larian Studios and
True.
trying out DM, and like that had to have been like where they were going, like make Baldur's Gate 3 for us, right? My you know what? I just my movie hype right now is for The Green Knight.
Oh, yeah. I still haven't watched that trailer. We talked about it last week.
You haven't watched that trailer?
I haven't watched it yet.
Dude, it
Let's
looks
watch it after this.
nuts.
Yes, let's
it
watch it
looks
after this.
so cool. Oh my god.
We'll watch the
Crispy,
trailer.
what are your opinions on the New Mutants?
It's weird that movie is actually coming
The
out.
trailer just looked like the movie's going to be boring.
I thought that was like a CW show.
I know.
Yeah, I mean it's just
Hey,
like,
careful.
yeah.
It has Maisie Williams on it. It's not going to be on CW.
Gawain is not the Green Knight. The Green Knight is somebody else.
Ooh.
Is like the antagonist.
I don't
or
know
the
what that
adversary.
means.
We'll find out in a second.
Well,
after
the
we
Green
finish this
goddamn in chat asked why is he not green?
We'll talk about it. We'll watch the trailer after we finish recording this podcast.
Oh, but why is he not green? I don't know, because nothing's green. Everything's green. What is green? My fucking fourth thing.
My number 4.
My number 4 is the next thing I say
Wonderful 101.
going to be. I don't know why, but it was on sale last night, so I felt like I had to buy Conan Exiles.
Oh.
So,
Oh my god.
dong sliders? I don't know.
Dude, I made his balls as big as they would go.
Biggest balls.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe.
The best part about that game is being naked and crouching, and you just see the fucking balls.
So next week, are we going to hear about Conan Exiles?
I don't know.
Bring it.
Dude, I played it a bit when it was in, like, alpha? Pre-alpha?
I want to see how far the dong sliders have come.
Oh, the dongs slide so much
I mean,
more.
the game still has optional nudity. Like, you can just, like, turn it on and off. You can just make the people naked.
Come on. An option?
I know.
It's an option?
I mean, if your mom walks in, you gotta be able to.
Just the,
Click
there's,
it. Click
there's,
it.
there's a keyboard shortcut to turn the clothes back on.
Control N.
It's called Alt Tab, man.
Control N for naked.
Control boobies.
That's fucking hilarious. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
and
That was your fourth thing.
That's it.
That's 4 things. That's
four
how it works.
things.
All right,
up,
my
Nick?
4-player minute starts now. I'm going to do this lightning fast.
Do it.
My first hype this week goes to Ori and the Will of the
Wait,
Wisps.
are these all hypes?
No.
When does that come
I
out?
think I have a sweat. Next Thursday.
Really? The 6th?
No, next Wednesday.
The 5th?
No,
Yes.
it's
No,
the,
it's
it's
the
the
11th,
following
isn't
week. It's the 11th.
You're right.
I think.
Sorry. 2 Wednesdays from now.
That game looks so good though.
So fucking excited for that game. Also, it's like you said, Nolan. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just there hasn't been a lot of there hasn't been anything like super high profile yet this year. And usually
Except
there's
your E3 game show.
You're right, and that's the only new thing I've played this year. And I talked about it, and I don't know if it's gonna have as big of an impact on me as
Wait, which game was that?
This
the
is
Journey to
like-
the Savage Planet.
Oh, yeah.
Which was fine. It was a good game, but in years past we've had like Horizon or Breath of the Wild or Resident Evil 7. They like all those games came out in like January, February.
That's a
time. So,
fact.
it's been kind of a dry year so far. So Ori is really, really fucking exciting. My second hype goes for Divinity Original Sin 2. As a caveat to also,
Did you listen to Blood, Sweat, and Pixels?
I
read it?
read bald.
Okay.
Bald.
Bald.
I thought you said bald. Blood, Sweat, and
and
Pixels. Yes.
That's a good. I listened to the audiobook.
It's
It was
very
pretty
good. Very good book.
Yeah.
I'm
Because they talk
looking
about
forward-
the original Sin 2 in that.
They're no, they did Pillars of Eternity too.
Oh, those are different games.
Those are different
I
games.
often
Jason
forget that.
Schreier's almost done with the second one.
So he says, and he also says it's ridiculously fucking long.
I'm very excited to read it though. But yeah, Baldur's Gate 3, but as a more because I need to play something sooner. Divinity Original Sin 2.
Original Sin 2 was Kickstarter, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Maybe that's why I always get the confused.
it's on
Yeah.
Switch and it has cross saves with Steam.
That's always smart.
So yeah, you could play it on PC, which you absolutely fucking should. I don't know if it's any good on Switch, but you could get it on Switch and just play it on like your lunch break or something.
Now I have 2 sweats.
Okay.
My first sweat is Asgard's Wrath. I'm really enjoying it. It's a very bold, very full gaming experience, but it's also a game I can only play in relatively short bursts. Like an hour and a half is kind of pushing it.
Honestly, an hour and a half for VR is kind of much no matter the game.
But when you think about that and you think about it's like a 60-hour game,
yeah.
it's going to take a lot of
It's not
sessions.
60, is it?
Dude, on how long to beat, it's averaging 55. I think.
Really?
Holy shit!
Jesus
I think. I
Christ.
could be
I'll
wrong.
look it up real quick.
But
real quick.
it is a thick gaming experience for sure. A little worried about that because as much as I'm liking it, as much as I really want to see it through to the end, it's going to be a long process. My second sweat is I have all these games I want to play. I want to play all the way through The Walking Dead. I want to play Divinity Original Sin 2, Asgard's Wrath, all that stuff. At the same time, all I really want to do is play Red Dead Redemption 2.
He has the real number.
The main story, the average, is 25 hours.
Okay, but I was looking at the
The completionist is
Oh, yeah.
54. Main plus extras, 34. And then it says average for all is 33 hours.
Main plus extras. Is
Maybe
what you
main
should
plus
always
extra is
look
probably-
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's still 33 hours, which is
Completionist,
a
you
pretty,
should never look at.
33
pretty
is a
long VR
33 is a
game.
lot for VR for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my damnedest to get through it because it's a really cool experience. I wish I could just at least tell you what the game actually is from moment to moment, but I'm still in a damn tutorial. I hope that changes by next week. But yeah, I want to play all these different things. I'm super excited, but at the same time, I'm still thinking about Red Dead Redemption 2 on a daily basis, and I'm really just going to town in the photo mode and having a blast, just kind of reliving that story and that world and all that stuff. I'm already almost 20 hours into my second playthrough, and I'm still in Chapter 2, and just taking my sweet ass time with it. But it's my chill game. It's the game I go to just be in the zone.
That's fine.
But yeah, that's our show tonight, guys. Thank you very much for listening. 4playernetwork.com is, of course, the website where you can find all of our podcasts. We have our Game of the Year content coming very, very soon. Our first video should be out in the next day or two. If you want to support us financially, patreon.com. Like I said, we're working up to 175 patrons. If we do that, we will do a dedicated month on our Twitch stream where we play tons of games from any particular year we choose. It's a really fun experiment, and it allows us. It may be a good opportunity to expose you to a lot of stuff you may not have had a chance to play or see before. So very much hoping to hit that goal soon. Also, if you want to be a part of the community at no charge and just be there to talk about stuff and be a part of the conversation, go to discord.gg/4player. That is the best place to be. We are in there on a daily basis having all kinds of fun, silly conversations. So anyways, that's it tonight, guys. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you guys next week for another episode.